Panther fans, has Frank Reich given the Carolina Panthers credibility? Adam Thielen's the new free agent wide receiver acquisition. Cam Newton trying to get back in the NFL. And Thomas Davis running interference for the Carolina Panthers as they go into the NFL draft. That and much more on the podcast by Panther fans for Panther fans. It's the C3 Panthers podcast. Let's go, fellas.
Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
In a world where Carolina Panthers fans have an insatiable thirst for Panthers news and opinions, only one podcast roars ferociously. It's the C3 Panthers podcast.
You heard it, folks. It's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. We've got a fantastic show for you tonight. There's a ton of news from the Carolina Panthers building an offense that's ready for a rookie quarterback. And boy, the place is so respectable these days. People may actually want to come to Charlotte without fleecing us. Thomas Davis. He's throwing like a little sleight of hand here and there. We've got quarterback talk. We've got stories on CarolinaCatChronicles.com, and we've even got Cam Newton back. Cam Newton's back, baby. And is he just a rando? I hope not. Man, I'm going to do all of that with you guys. But first, my wheelman, Cody Lashney. What's up, my brother?
Tony Dunn. The draft cannot get here fast enough, man. The battle of Bryce Young versus CJ Stroud is raging on the internet. Fans are more opinionated now more than ever. You have media pundits throwing their names in the hat on who's the number one, who's the number two, who the Panthers are going to take, or are we going to trade back? There is so much to discuss on tonight's edition of the C3 Panthers podcast. You know, there's nowhere I'd rather be on a Tuesday night than sitting here with my boys hanging out, talking about Panther football. And you know we're going to hang with the best damn Panther fans in all of YouTube. You already know what it is. 910 Panther fan, Drew, Algernon Ramsor, Joey the Blind Panther, Trouba with the Tuber 24, Chuck Duru Ihoma. What's up, bro? Dan Floyd, David Screws, D's Ill Skills, Lynn Leonhardt, Michael Davis, Panther Gal 73, Panther Pickle, Underground West, and YB Jordan. Apologies if I missed any names. That's a long list. Tony Dunn, ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. Let's roll.
We want to get your thoughts on all of this news and anything you want to talk about when it comes to the Carolina Panthers and the NFL. The number's 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. Call in. We'll get your call on the show later on. And smash that thumbs up button. Consider being a C3 super fan. We got some fun news for you on that later. We've got a ton of stuff to talk about, CK. The press conferences. Boy, oh boy. They are not shying away. We getting a quarterback, and they getting ready to start that damn quarterback.
Well, here's the thing: is what I'm happy about is they're not doing what they're not acting like we're ignorant, right? They understand we are aware that they are going to be taking a quarterback. It's not even a question. We know this. This is not news. This is something we are aware of. So that's something that I'm excited about, that they're actually treating us with some sort of understanding that we have a level of intelligence that understands that they are taking a quarterback. That's what they're talking about. What I do like is that they aren't shying away from describing what they like about these guys. And you know, at the end of the day, being honest about the reasoning they went with this trade, getting DJ Moore involved in that trade. It was all very enlightening, but also I think many Panthers fans are coming away feeling like this is a much more improved coaching room, front office than what had been in years past. So it's honestly, at this point in time, I'm just excited to see where we're going. And we've got a little over a month, and we're going to know a lot more about the trajectory of this franchise.
Don't forget, we're going to have the 10th live C3 live draft party, NFL draft party, where this one's going to be lit. This has got to be the coolest one so far. The number one pick in the draft, the pick of the litter. And when asked about if this was added pressure picking number one, Frank Reich said, not at all. This is actually giving us the opportunity to get our guy, and who that guy is. We've got a lot of thoughts on that matter. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, maybe even somebody a little more not confrontational. What am I looking for?
Questionable.
No, like
how about that? Upside,
right? We got that a lot of audio, and it turns out Frank Reich has got the secret recipe for these quarterbacks. It's that extra crispy Kentucky Fried Chicken recipe, and it's proprietary to Frank Reich and the guys. Greg, welcome back to the C3 Panthers podcast. It's great to see you again.
Thanks, man. Always a fun time. Tuesday nights is the best night to be here. And, I got to ask y'all, because this is where I'm at. Like, do y'all feel like we're being disrespected by the media right now? I feel like Carolina made a big trade to move to number one, and all I hear about is Chicago. I don't hear whenever I hear anything about draft grades or anything else, I feel like Carolina did a fantastic job, and they'll say that. But then they'll just kind of breeze over it, say the players, and go on, talk about somebody else. I feel like Carolina's getting disrespected, being the number one pick and doing what we've done in free agency right now for what we're going to be. And I think, honestly, it's kind of great. Right. Let's go in there under the radar. I'm cool with that.
The applause, Tony. That was beautiful. Thank you, Greg. Dude.
You know what? It's another day that ends in Y because the Panther fans feel disrespected.
Oh, man. I feel like anytime. So I never watch any of the, the big sports networks. But, dude, I wanted to hear hear them talk about Panthers. I go on there, and they're just down on us, man. Oh, I can't believe they gave up that much. Everybody's loving it for the Bears, but yet somehow hating it for us. Dude, it is blatant disrespect. If you want real Panthers news and opinion, oh, brother, you keep it tuned to the C3 Panthers podcast, baby. You already know what it is.
We're in our 11th season. That's right. The longest running Panthers podcast around, building the community together, one fan at a time, one C3 super fan at a time, one subscriber at a time. So we appreciate you guys being here with us tonight. We've got a ton to talk about. So let's just go ahead and jump into this show. The biggest news or the most pressing news and everything that people have been talking about. I've got a feeling that the Carolina Panthers have some credibility now, folks. The Carolina Panthers have signed Adam Thielen. And I don't think it's Adam Thielen that gives us the credibility necessarily, because we'll talk about his age. We'll talk about his abilities. We'll talk about just how important he is as a signing. But this is a signing that we shouldn't have gotten. This is a player that the Carolina Panthers would never have landed in the past with Matt Rule. And maybe, I mean, it's a long shot to say that they may have landed it with Ron Rivera. The pitch was real. It was authentic. And I've got a feeling something is happening in Carolina. Adam Thielen signs a 3-year deal and with the Carolina Panthers, and he wants to play all 3 years on this. I'm going to go ahead and just jump into this sound clip. Here is Fitterer on Thielen and why they brought him in.
Any concern about going to 3 years on Thielen, who's going to be 33?
No, he actually wants to be here 3 years. That was part of the whole deal. He wants to be here through this process of building and winning. So that was important to him. Having him in the building, like when you watch his tape, the type of player he is, he's so much about technique and separation and route running that doesn't bother me as much. If he loses a step, it's not a biggest factor for a player with his style of play. If he was just a straight line burner, 32, that makes a difference. A guy that's so savvy like that knows how to separate wasn't as big a factor. And then we also want his influence in the locker room. He's such a leader. We had him in the building last week. I was really impressed with the guy. There's so much command and respect that he's what our team needs right now.
That's Scott Fitterer from yesterday's press conference on maybe some concerns that were brought up for Thielen. I know a lot of Panther fans had gotten excited with that name, or at least we tend to get excited with every free agent signing. It's always great when it happens, and a year or two later, we always act like we shouldn't have thought it was great in the moment, I guess. We've wanted DeAndre Hopkins. Rumors are still out there about DJ Chark, but Adam Thielen is a guy who's had 16 touchdowns in the last 2 seasons, right? And he has, while his production did decline, he's been able to put up 1,000-yard seasons on the other side of Stephon Diggs. He's put up 700-yard plus seasons over the last couple of years, 3 out of the 4 last years, I think, with Justin Jefferson on the other side. This guy's been in the league for 10 years. He came in undrafted, but he's a proven player in this league. Very reminiscent to me of what a Ricky Prohl kind of did for this team. Adam Thielen, your thoughts. Go around the horn, and then we'll hear why Adam Thielen, what he said on Pat McAfee about why he joined the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, dude, I'm loving this move, man. And listen, we were all basically screaming from the top of our lungs that if you're going to be drafting a quarterback day one and you have all of your offensive line under contract for the foreseeable future, it is incumbent upon you as a front office to surround that quarterback with as many weapons to make his life as easy as possible. We've been waiting for that to happen, and finally they did that, man. Listen, Adam Thielen has more receiving touchdowns over the past 4 seasons than Stephon Diggs, Cooper Kupp, Amari Cooper, George Kittle, DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen, A.J. Brown, and DK Metcalf. Dude, that's a hell of a list.
The greatest receiver in the history of the world that the Panthers let go in a trade, DJ Moore, as well.
That's right, man. So it's like you're letting go of a superstar, talented player, and I still think DJ Moore is a superstar. And now you're adding some of that production back to your team in the form of Adam Thielen. Dude, this guy is a red zone nightmare. Do you hear me? This dude has a nose for the end zone, with the very best of them in the NFL. This is a perfect addition for the Carolina Panthers. I love the flexibility that he has. You're going to be able to line him up in the slot. You're going to be able to move him outside. There's so many options available to Thomas Brown, our new offensive coordinator, and Frank Reich, and how they decide to use Adam Thielen. I'm pumped, and I'm on cloud 9. This is a fantastic move for the Panthers, and I'll pass the mic here. I don't think we're done yet, boys.
CK, how you feeling?
Listen, and I love the Ricky Prohl, that comparison. Somebody who's going to help a rookie quarterback understand what they're seeing. He's going to have, and when you look at what people say about him around the league, this guy has one of the best route runners in the entire NFL. Right. So he's going to be able to create separation just based off of technique alone. He doesn't need to be the speediest guy. He doesn't need to be some super athletic guy. And I think that's what you need with a rookie quarterback who is looking for a guy who's going to be open quickly, because he might be one read for a little bit. He might be, 2 reads for a little bit. And you've got to make sure that security blanket is on top of it. And that's what I think this signing really does for a guy. That will be drafted number 1 overall. So I'm thrilled with it. I don't think it was that bad of a lot of people were talking about that we overpaid for him. I think that this was a front loaded contract. And like Cody said, I think that this leaves a lot open for us to go after somebody else, be it in the draft or in free agency.
Shout out to my brother, Joe Riolano, in the chat, co-founder of the C3 Panthers podcast at CarolinaCatChronicles.com. And my best friend in life, right? Joe, love you. Also wish the best to your family. And he says he likes the Ricky Prohl comparison. But now hit us with a dose of reality, Greg.
Well, it's so funny you say that because that's exactly what I'm going to do. Like, listen, I like the Adam Thielen signing. I really do. I don't want people to think that I don't. However,
you have it
yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
however, this doesn't fix our wide receiver
Sure.
problem. It doesn't solve us. It doesn't give us number one, I guess. And for me, I wanted to sign a number one. There are a couple of guys out there we could have done that with. That I feel like, and I don't want to disrespect Adam Thielen. I think Adam Thielen is a great wide receiver, and I'm really happy to have him on. I think he can easily step over TMJ for TMJ. Yeah.
I know it always feels weird when you say it. I don't know if we have a lockjaw or if we got it wrong.
For a number 2 spot, but I feel like we slightly overpaid for him, but it's okay because we've opened up a little bit of room, and this is a position we needed to be filled with a pretty decent player. He's more proven than Terrence Marshall Jr. I want us to solve this number 1 spot because as much as I love Adam Thielen, he's not a number 1 wide receiver. And while he'd be great for a rookie quarterback, I would love to give this incoming rookie quarterback the offensive line we have with a decent tight end we just picked up and a number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah, so the Panthers, though, are taking a position on this, Greg, it looks like, and a lot of things that I've heard, even when Adam Thielen was asked on Pat McAfee if he chose Carolina because he would be the number 1 there, right? Because right now they don't have anybody that's proven. He said, not at all. I chose Carolina because they want to build an offense that has a bunch of players that support each other. And here's the thing. I do agree with you, Greg, is having that big X factor receiver or whatever the letter is, I'm pretty sure it's X, and that guy who can just take over a game early, Larry Fitzpatrick, Steve Smith at the peak of his career. Right now you're talking about a Stephon Diggs. You're talking about a Justin Jefferson, those types of a Tyreek Hill. Yes, those players are wonderful to have, but those players don't win if there's not a complement around them.
True.
Right? There's a complementary group of players. We saw the Panthers in their history do poor with complementary playmakers on each other. They went too small and cheap on receivers. Then they overcorrected by getting the biggest, giantest, fat receivers in the league. Right. And then every time they tried to swing and get back, instead of thinking complementary. And I think Adam Thielen, what he can do is what he offers to this is not only production, right? The ability, like this type of playmaking is built off of route running, savvy veteran, a guy that's been in the league who looks like he stays healthy. He says he is in the best shape, not of his life, but he came out of last season without any injury, is a guy who can complement other players. You get a speedster, right? And he can offer the ability to give that mid-level receiving threat, right? Is the 8, the 7-yard receiver, right? He can play the slot. He can play the X. He can play the Y. And what I think he offers is if we get that guy, Greg, maybe we get him next year in next year's draft. Maybe we get him at 39 this year. Maybe we go and get a young player, but he can be a mentor to a bunch of groups. Maybe if Cody Lashney has his way, Terrace Marshall Jr. is that player.
Damn.
This is the type of guy who can mentor them. I think what you say here is his role on this team and the importance what he can do with this staff goes far beyond just on the field. Cody,
agreed.
Man, we should not have gotten Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
And the reason why is he had never hit free agency before.
Right.
He announced this. He announced that he never even intended to visit Carolina. He wanted to be on a team that could win. On top of that, we could not pay him or any of these guys the type of dollars that are going to strap us forever. Right? So, really, we can't woo him with the money. We can't necessarily woo him with a championship on the horizon. And somehow we still landed this guy. We still landed him. And I think this is just the latest example in Frank Reich's gravitas, his presence, the old ball coach The guy who's been around the league, who can get Jim Caldwell to join his staff, has now gotten a guy like Adam Thielen to join the Carolina Panthers. And here is Adam Thielen on the Pat McAfee show talking about just why he chose Carolina.
Well, and to be honest, I probably wasn't going to go on a visit there unless it was because of Coach. That was the reason why I went there, because I've had respect for him for a long time, just from afar, playing against him when he was the Eagles offense coordinator, seeing what he did there, and then with the Colts and the teams that he kind of put together there. His ability to spread the ball around and get a lot of guys involved and to move the ball, do some of the RPO stuff. I'm a big fan. So that's why I went there. And then when I left the building, it was hard for me not to be excited, just because, again, they're ready to win and they want to win and they have a plan. That was the biggest thing going there, is like, well, what's your plan? And it was very clear that they have a plan to win, and win now and win the big prize. It's not just get through a couple of years and see how the rookie does. No, it's their plan to win.
Hey, you walk in that locker, you're doing a full.
Dude, I love it, man.
Me too.
I love it. And dude, this was very controversial. And by the way, every other fan of every other team is like going under every Twitter post like, oh yeah, right, the Panthers aren't doing shit. They're not going
close.
Anywhere.
They're not going to win. Yeah.
Listen, man. Adam Thielen walked in this building not expecting anything from us. Basically only coming here out of the pure respect for our brand new head coach, Frank Reich. And he walked away saying, I feel there is a real chance to win a Super Bowl. A Super Bowl, damn it. What is more important than a team of guys that believe they can go all the way? And that's what this man provides to the locker room. He has that type of belief in the situation that he's coming into this, Panthers organization that has such a bright future, man. Have the number 1 overall pick at in the NFL. That we're going to go quarterback. We have he mentioned how good the defense was in that interview. Hey, another thing to mention, he also said Andy Dalton being in that quarterback room was another big reason for him coming to Carolina, just because that no matter what, you're going to have a veteran who has played a lot of meaningful NFL snaps at quarterback and has done a lot in the NFL, and that meant a lot to him. I mean, think about all the different quarterback coaches that we have on staff that have a ton of experience. Josh McCown, Frank Reich was, a former quarterback. We have the great Dom Capers here in the building. We have the type of people and the type of staff to build a winning culture that Carolina has had so abundantly in the past. Adam Thielen is feeling it. That man is feeling it, if you know what I'm saying. I love it, bro.
I want to highlight this comment. Flying High 1789 says, feels nice to have a real NFL coach again. And this is truly what I want to kind of really focus our beginning discussion on. The Thielen topic is about how Frank Reich and his staff adds a real authentic credibility that has been lacking under the fraudulent Matt Rule. And really, honestly, you could argue that this is really, it's attractive. Here, let me give you, there's three, maybe even 4. I'll give you 4 points, 3 at the minimum, of why I believe we can see that Frank Reich has added a level of credibility that we have been unfamiliar with really in a long time, or maybe ever, honestly. Number 1 is this. Frank Reich in his press conference comes out, and he was his first press conference when he accepted the job. He was confident. He had a clear vision of how he wanted to do the job and what he wanted to do. But he made everything about the players first. You knew he was a player. You knew he understood that while him doing his job to the utmost, his best ability was important. He knew that this really is a player's game. Right away, he gains credibility with players on his team and players throughout the building and the NFL everywhere. Number 2, the staff. How we got the job is by saying, look, I'm ready. This is my plan for all my coaching staff. here is the thing. He assembled what people have called like the Avengers staff, right?
Yeah.
But you don't bring in, Jim Caldwell said he didn't want to be an offensive coordinator. He didn't want to be an offensive coordinator, but his relationship with Frank Reich said, this is a good fit for me. You get the top defensive prospect, right? Defensive coordinator prospect in the league. You get veteran coaches with crazy experience from Dom Capers to Jim Caldwell. That screams credibility right there. Screams credibility. He even said this, and you want to talk about a guy who knows football. Man, he said this when he was talking about, he's like, oh, yeah, I was hanging out with Josh McCown. By the way, some people were thinking he could land a head coaching job at one point. He said, yeah, we just talked ball for 2 hours. It felt like, oh, shit, this dude, these guys really, really know football. Here's my next point. He got enough credibility with Tepper, with Fitterer, that they felt comfortable enough trading to the number 1 pick in the draft to get their quarterback. They feel confident that this is the guy and the time that can help them make the right pick. Next, Adam Thielen. He said he didn't want to even come here.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was Frank Reich's plan. He said this. He said, look, he didn't just come and say, I just want to throw you a bunch of balls or whatever. Is that this is, like he said, this is how we can envision you contributing to an offense. This is why we got Miles Sanders. This is why we got Hayden Hurst. And it's not just, let's add some names. And I want to end with this point. The length on these deals, the 3 years on Hayden Hurst, the 3 years on Adam Thielen, and the 4 years on Miles Sanders says a commitment to these free agents. These are not just free agents that are going to be used and abused and tossed to the wayside. They understand. They understand that this is an authentic vision to build around a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
That's authenticity. That's credibility.
Shout out real quick to Bo Carter. He says, sorry to say, but this is the difference between Wilkes and a Reich. And this is what a lot of people were kind of saying. And again, nobody can look into a parallel universe and see what Steve would have done. But the type of connections and the type of, the air that Frank Reich has around him and the respect that people have for him around the league, it is palpable, man. And the fact that we're now getting players to come here because of Frank Reich, I think speaks volumes about not only who he is as a head coach, but who he is as a man.
Yes.
Like outside of football, people really respect this dude. And by the way, when we say that Carolina has a family atmosphere, but let me tell you, they already feel it, because even Adam Thielen's little babies are feeling it.
Bum, bum, bum. Your time never feels so good. So good. So good. Yeah.
I love it, man. Love it.
Wonderful.
Those are Adam Thielen's kids. Dude, people want to be here, man. They want to be in the Charlotte area. They want to be connected to this incredible Carolina Panthers team. Man, we're doing something right, man. I don't remember the last time I felt not only this excited as a fan, but where I felt like, for the most part, all the fans around us shared that same excitement, man. Dude, it's a great time to be a fan of the Carolina Panthers, baby.
Yeah, I don't even say. I mean, I know it's excitement. Look, I mean, hell, I feel like I'm running on highest octane tonight. Good Lord, I've been excited in so many, but it's an ease, it's a comfortness. I've talked about this a lot. What's up in there? What's next? What do we got up next?
Yeah, up next on the docket, and again, this kind of goes to what I was saying earlier. I don't think we're done. There were reports there were reports that came out that the Carolina Panthers were trying to sign Adam Thielen and former Lions wide receiver DJ Chark, whereas most Panther fans kind of thought that it was going to be one or the other. Fitterer's like, no, man, we're trying to load up on the weapons. Then DJ Chark subsequently went on Instagram and started following damn near every Carolina Panthers player with an Instagram account that there is, man. He followed Shaq Thompson, J.C. Horn, Jeremy Chin. It really looks like something that
could happen.
That really could happen. And not only that it could happen, but that the Panthers want to happen. And I've also heard rumors that that's what DJ Chark wants to happen, that he wants to come here with the Carolina Panthers.
Right.
I would love that. He's had some injury histories here and there, but for the most part, this dude has an incredible physical profile, tall, fast, checks every box that you want from a receiver. Dude, that would be absolutely incredible for the Carolina Panthers.
CK, I heard on Pat McAfee today when they were talking to Adam Thielen. I guess it was today or yesterday's show, whenever they had him on. I just watch it on YouTube whenever I'm sitting around. He said, he asked Adam Thielen if he was doing some recruiting. And he said, oh, yeah. And he mentioned Instagram messaging DJ Chark.
Listen, I mean, that's what you want to see happening. And the fact that they are following each other. And it sounds like, from what I'd seen, there were some reports that Chark wanted to come here, but we were concerned about his durability. I don't know what the circumstances are or how real those reports are, but I do recall hearing something along those lines. So something to keep an eye out on. But that would be an interesting situation if that is, in fact, the truth.
Well, is what this is. I don't know if it's just that we haven't paid a lot of attention to our offense in the past ever. It feels like at times. I don't know if it's the kind of the wins in our and behind our backs, because we're going to get that franchise quarterback in that number one pick, and we know it's coming, and we know that at least we'll have a time where we believe that the Panthers offense is going to be heading in the right direction. I don't know if it's Frank Reich, but I tell you, man, is that the offensive stuff just gets your blood pumping. And boy, Cody, I'd like to go to clip. Let's go to one of those clips. I guess the first clip I sent about building a squad to support a quarterback. This is we're going to go to Scott Fitterer yesterday at his press conference talking about free agency. And while they talked about free agency, everything was about that quarterback.
Oh, my bad.
It's okay.
I guess we need sound, huh?
I know. I clipped this on YouTube, so we should be all right.
You're not going to make a move like that without having that pretty much, man. And well, now we're going through the process of talking to the players and really getting to know them. You know them as players starting back a couple of years when your scouts start, watching these guys, evaluating them. We had a snapshot at the combine where you get 18 minutes talking to them. But really, we want to get to know them, what drives them, supporting them, their family. So this is an important time to go through this process. But we do feel good about the group up top.
This is
your off-season approach and everything you do now that you're 1 versus 9.
We could go ahead and cut it there. This clip right here is discussing how they would not have traded up if they had not believed that one of these quarterbacks was the real deal, right? But they are also committed. Let's go ahead and pull up the next clip. This is Scott Fitterer talking about the need and the importance of putting together a team that supports a young quarterback in the right way. And boy, we're going to talk about Cam Newton in a little while. But if you remember Panther fans bemoaning, asking a young guy to do it all by himself, there's a different sheriff in town, Cody.
Yeah, well, it started like when you lose DJ Moore. I mean, that hurts. So how do you replace that? And if you're going to go with a young quarterback, you have to have a running back. You have to have the tight end. You have to have the receivers. We feel like we have the offensive line. Brought back Bozeman. Kind of cemented that starting 5. Bringing Justin McCray. Caden Mays is making his move. So we feel good about that. Everything we've done the last couple of years is build the defense, build the offensive line. So when we get to that position, we can drop someone in. we're in that position right now. But what we wanted to do in free agency is surround that person and then go into the draft, not having to force anything. We don't want to have to take a certain position at 39 just to take that position. We want to take the best player available. So that's why we made these moves.
Got any concern?
Y'all's thoughts?
Listen, I actually have some very strong thoughts about this, and I've been saying this on on Twitter. Follow me at Cody Lack, CODYLAC. I don't think that the Panthers are 100% sold on who they're going to draft. There's this idea amongst Panther fans that as soon as they executed this trade, that it was set in stone, that the Panthers organization, without question, knows who they're going to draft. And listen, maybe I'm out of line here, but I feel that is fundamentally not true. They haven't been to any of their pro days. They haven't had any of their in-person visits. And keep in mind, those are the ones that matter, right? Because when they come here, they'll spend, most of the day. They'll have like a 3-hour visit going through the facility, talking about their life, looking at film, going through all different kinds of things. And those are incredibly important to your evaluation process, the team's overall evaluation process as a whole. I have no doubt in my mind that there is a leader in the clubhouse, right? That they probably have somebody who has a higher grade than the other player. But I mean, think about how fans are so torn right now. Like, you can make legit arguments for either of Bryce Young or CJ Stroud being the number one quarterback in this year's draft. Now, imagine an entire front office filled with football people who all have strong opinions and strong convictions on the quarterback position. I guarantee you there are people inside that building that love CJ Stroud. I know Josh McCown is one of them. Then I know you're going to have people that love the processing ability of a player like Bryce Young. So in my mind, the idea that the Carolina Panthers know right now on March the 21st who they're going to be drafting on April 27th, I'm sorry, but that's absurd to me, man. I don't think that they're sold on either one of them yet.
I don't
be, and they shouldn't be.
I think that we're kind of splitting hairs a different way, though. I'm not saying they know exactly which one is it going to be, Stroud or Young. They're going to pick, and they're set in stone yet. They talked about like how these visits are going to be important. There's still a lot more to get to know and helping them make that decision. I just feel that they're confident that one of those two players right there, and if you want to expand it, right, is what they're saying is they're confident that they can get a franchise level quarterback in this draft, and it's not a reach. That's it. I'm not saying who that they've decided on it. CK, we are getting a rookie quarterback, and it's going to happen whether or not people. Actually, everybody wants it. It does feel good to assemble a squad around that could support him.
I mean, that's the thing is, if we can get a group of guys together that make his life easier, I think that's going to be a recipe for success. I mean, especially if this guy is going to be starting week 1, which by all the things that are said in this press conference, this is the intention. This isn't going to be a scenario where maybe it's Andy Dalton starting. Like, from what they're stating, Andy was brought in to help a guy start from day one. Right. And that's what he understands his role to be. And that's what this coaching staff understands is what they're looking for out of a quarterback. So, I mean, if that is the goal, then there's no better situation to have your rookie quarterback be in than to have a guy like Thielen and Hayden Hurst and I mean, just established veterans. Like, we don't have a group of young people on this team, and TMJ being able to grow with a rookie quarterback, I think is an incredible opportunity for him to show what he's capable of doing. Too many times, I think he's been given the short end of the stick, if you will. And so now it's going to be his opportunity to show the world what he's actually capable of doing.
At the end of the day, Cody, they might not have the guy selected right now, or like set in stone. But this is the most important pick, not in Panthers history. This is probably the second most important pick in Panthers history. We've had the number 1 pick one other time. We've had the number 2 pick where we got Julius Peppers. This has been the most important pick in the Carolina Panthers franchise since the Cam Newton pick. Cody Lack, right now there are 2 people who are in the running. I want to shout out at D's Skills. Go to CarolinaCatChronicles.com and check out his most recent article, Picking the Reich Quarterback, Young versus Stroud. These are the 2 names. Before we get into some of the meat and bones or the meat and potatoes of his argument, these are the 2 guys. These are the 2 names, are they not?
Without question, they are. I mean, in my mind, yeah, it's without question. And this is kind of attaching to the previous point that I just made. In my mind, when you moved up to number 1, or if you're the Carolina Panthers and you moved up to number 1, it guaranteed you the right to choose one of those 2 young men, either CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. Now, whoever that ends up being, fine. But it guarantees that you're going to get your pick. No matter who you end up valuing more highly, it's going to be between those, and you'll guarantee yourself the right to be able to grab them. Definitely check out CarolinaCatChronicles.com. Our boy D's Ill Skills coming through, supporting the website and writing some content, man. He wrote a fantastic article. Again, man, over here at C3, we want people to feel like you are a part of the C3 Panthers podcast. And you are, man. This is for the fans, by the fans. We want you to feel like your voice matters here, because it does, man. So that means you have to support Panther family, C3 Panther family, when you have the opportunity. Go read this brand new article. He put a ton of time and effort into it. And might I say, my boy did a pretty damn good job, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, the backbone of this article, I mean, clearly the article by the title is the right quarterback, Young versus Stroud. But what he made was a kind of an interesting analogy to how some of the discussions unfolded. And I believe it was, the 2018 NFL draft, where Baker Mayfield was coming off a Heisman Trophy year, undersized, but revered as a college player. And then you got another prototypical size quarterback on the other hand that a lot of people like, Sam Darnold. He didn't win the Heisman, but he had that 6'3", 225, the arm strength, the mobility, and that landed him the number 3 overall pick. But what he's ultimately talking about is the gravity of this pick and how important it is. And really at the kind of the difference, the difficulty in making this pick is you get a Bryce Young, Greg, who is accomplished, who has been a great playmaker, who won the Heisman, who has that kind of intangible it factor, right? And then you get on the other side a guy that gives you comfort in his size and his ability and really arms, like kind of. And the Carolina Panthers are going to have to weigh which one of these factors. Is it the concerns that push you towards the other guy, or are there attributes that pull you to one of these guys, Greg?
Well, I mean, once again, I think they're both fantastic first picks. I think the consolation prize for whoever has number 2 is a pretty good consolation. But it goes back to the argument I made the other day about it comes down to I can teach what CJ Stroud lacks, I can improve on. What Bryce Young lacks, I can't. And I'm not saying that Bryce Young lacks, it's like going to be a terrible quarterback. He may end up being the best quarterback in the NFL. And it's why I lean more to CJ Stroud, is because I can improve CJ Stroud's faults, if any. I can't improve any of Bryce Young's, And I've seen quarterbacks come from systems where everything for them is perfect as far as best offensive line, best wide receivers, best defense coming in. And I'm not saying that Bryce Young is going to fail, but I've just seen this before. The problem is, no matter what the quarterback is, you always have the issue of what if. I was looking at the top 50 NFL busts the other day, drafts, and Jamarcus Russell was number 1. And I think the top 10, like 6 of them are quarterbacks. Quarterback is a tough position to pick, man.
Yeah. And you know what? The number one pick overall is either a franchise Hall of Famer or a bust.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be a pretty good quarterback and be number 1.
Yeah.
I mean, just ask Jared Goff. Just ask even Baker Mayfield. Well, and I mean, is that Baker had some success in a terrible place, but Jared Goff is a prime example. Was Matt Stafford number 1 overall?
Yeah, he was.
2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
But
I mean, he won a Super Bowl, but you could have said the same thing for him until he went to the Rams.
So, Tony, I've got some pretty good breaking news. Our boy Just Don't Care just gave out 5 gifted subs to 5 special people to become a C3 super fan, man. That's incredible.
Wow, that's awesome.
Just Don't Care. We love you, buddy. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. And listen, hey, there's no better time than right now for me to drop this little tidbit. So look, if you've been around C3 for a while, in years past, it's really been hard for us to do film sessions just because we would try to go live and they would always get pulled off of YouTube. So we have a cool little trick for everybody. These are still going to go up on YouTube, but for $1.99 a month, you get first access to the 2023 C3 film room, baby. And I'm not talking about 15 minutes. I'm talking about these are hour-long film room sessions where we grind the tape of 3 different games from these quarterbacks coming up in the draft, both Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. We're going to have it where these videos are going to go up for all the super fans first, and then later on, they're going to go up on YouTube for everyone else to watch. But if you want to see these before everyone else, dude, all you have to do, hit that join button, join the C3 Panthers fandom for only $1.99 a month, a bunch of film sessions. We just did Bryce Young. We watched 3 separate pieces of film for Bryce Young, and we're going to do more on Bryce. We're going to do more on CJ. We're going to try and do some edge rushers at some point. We're going to do some receivers. Man, it's going to be incredible. If you love to crunch the film and you really want to know what separates the number 1 and number 2 quarterback in this year's draft, hit that join button, baby. Support the C3 Panthers podcast, and we're going to have a good time doing it, baby.
That's good news, people.
That is good news, people. And you know what? It's a small way to support the show. $1.99 a monthly donation gets you, some small loyalty things. But really, it's a way for us to continue to grow the channel, particularly. And I know anything that people give is a lot in this difficult time. Boy, the inflation's hitting me incredibly lately, so I know it's like that on everybody. So a little bit rather from a lot rather than a lot from a little. is a great way for us to continue to band together and build this community. Another way you can support the show, smash the thumbs up button, subscribe, and even call in at 252-228-5098. Now, this story and the discussion for the next month or more, actually, it's about a month and a week. How long? We got to start doing a countdown, I guess, to the draft. If somebody could tell us how many days to the draft it will be. It's going to be, is it CJ Stroud? Is it Bryce Young? And you're going to hear about people talking about how Bryce Young is the guy. He needs to be the guy. Then you're going to have people telling you there's CJ Stroud that is the guy. And I'm going to tell you one thing. You're also going to get a lot of smoke, a lot of sleight of hand. And boy, are the Panthers engaged in all types of deception and potentially luring old players in, legends to run interference. Here's Thomas Davis talking about the Carolina Panthers and who they are going to pick at number 1.
And you look at Bryce Young, you look at his resume. The kid was a Heisman Trophy winner last year for a reason. And then when you put guys around him like Alabama has, he played in the SEC, the highest level of competition in football, in college football. I just think that he's going to come in and he would fit well in Carolina if they were going to draft him. But like you said, DJ, I don't think that he's going to be their pick. I think it's going to be a very, very surprising pick in Carolina.
Whoa!
But, I mean, I will say this. If this pick happens that who I think that they are in love with, I'm not a fan of it.
Okay, so hold on, you can't spill the beans here.
I just know that there are a couple of guys upstairs that are enamored by the physical ability of Anthony Richardson.
Wow. 1 overall.
That will have some fun.
Well, last time they took a quarterback 1 overall, it was Cam. So, like, right?
I mean, he's not Cam Newton.
Quarterback.
No. He's not Cam Newton.
I love that. He's not Cam
Newton.
Newton.
Play a lot.
Thank you.
Me being an SEC guy, he has all the physical characteristics of being a really good quarterback in the NFL, but I don't think that he's going to be that great player that the Carolina Panthers need to take them to the next level. When you look at Bryce Young, what he brings to the table, he's a proven winner. When you look at CJ Stroud, what he brings to the table, this kid has proven he can win football games. Anthony Richardson, on the other hand, Will Levis, on the other hand, those guys have been in programs that could potentially be good, but they just haven't been. And the reason to me has been the quarterback position.
I know.
Wow, Thomas Davis. Now,
heat on that one.
He really did. I mean, he definitely did. My question to you: what does Thomas Davis actually know? And White Chocolate, I see you don't know. We're definitely gonna get to him. I promise you, brother. But when it comes to Thomas Davis, my mind, I think he's kind of running interference for the Carolina Panthers. I think, everybody knows that Thomas Davis is on the NFL Network now. He has a speaking job in front of everyone. So why would anyone in the organization, be giving Thomas Davis, top secret information about who we're going to be drafting? Look, maybe he knows something. I don't know. All I'm saying is that if, to me, this seems very unlikely. It seems as though he's hinting. It seems as though he's hinting at Anthony Richardson, but in my mind, there is just no way that you've moved all the way up to number 1 to take Anthony Richardson, man. To me, it just does not seem like a good move.
Well, he wasn't hinting at it. He straight up said Anthony Richardson, didn't he? Yeah, there was no hinting at all. So, yeah, I agree with you, Cody. I think that if Carolina drafts Anthony Richardson number 1, and no, I'm not trying to disrespect Anthony Richardson. I just feel there's better players ahead of him at the same position. I feel like it could be a bust. Now, Anthony Richardson could come in the NFL and be the next Lamar Jackson for all I know, or the next Cam Newton for all I know. But I just feel like, based on the information we have, he's not the best selection for number 1 for Carolina.
Yeah. CK, you want to jump in before we read some super chats?
Dude, I think that if we moved up to 1 to get Anthony Richardson, I think there'd be a lot of people. If we had gotten him and moved up to like 4 to do it, I don't think you're going to have a lot of people upset about it, right? Not everybody's going to be like, jumping overjoy. I mean, but moving up to 1 when you have these two guys who, as Thomas Davis put, is a proven commodity in the in college. I mean, I think that's just a heavy risk, and I don't think that this organization is prepared to do that with a fan base that is coming off of 3, 4, 5 years of quarterback mediocrity, right? I just don't see them taking a risk on a guy like that. I know he has incredible upside, but for what they gave up, I mean, you gave up a DJ Moore, right? You don't get a super athletic guy and, you know, as a quarterback like Anthony Richardson and sign the types of people that they've been signing. I think the signings that they have here have told me that it's clearly going to be a guy like Bryce Young who is ready to start day one. They're going to be focusing on that offensive line, I feel like, and trying to secure that internal or that interior line. But man, I cannot for the life of me figure out in what world outside of us trading down for a incredible haul of picks or what have you. There's just no scenario where I think we're taking anybody other than CJ Stroud or Bryce Young.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that. It kind of seems like like Thomas Davis is kind of playing the game a little bit at this point, which, hey, man.
Somebody said a plant. He's a plant.
Yeah,
and as my bastard son said, he would never say that without being told that it was okay to leak a little here and there and try to get kind of people uncomfortable all over the place everywhere. Cody, read out these super chats and then turn the mic over to the voice that makes them moist.
Oh, yeah, man. Look, shout out to all these incredible members donating to the C3 Panthers podcast. Up first, we got a couple from your bastard son, White Chocolate Espresso. Went on a date with the crazy. Yep. What's up, C3? Of course he would.
Of course you did.
Of course he would. He also says people burping and slurping for quarterbacks who haven't taken a snap in the NFL yet. Calm down, Papa Zanny, and toe cup. Hey, I think everybody could do a little bit of that in their life. Hank Rebel says, welcome to Orange Jelly Ninja. Whoa. Oh, don't worry. I'm going to let you get them, CK. Rare Gamer 99 says the discussion about short quarterbacks isn't new. A modern version of Eddie LeBaron and Doug Flutie would be absolutely deadly in the NFL. Appreciate you, Rare Gamer. White Chocolate again with the 199 says he wouldn't say this unless someone told him to do so. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that point. Terrence Ingram says if we draft AR-15 at 1, we're going to riot. He's not terrible, but we could have stayed at 9 for that. Keep pounding. And listen, I told my boy CK he could get back to it because we got a brand new member. Give him them pipes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a brand new member of the C3 Superfan Club. We want to welcome Orange Jelly Ninja. For joining the club, we want to say we appreciate your support. Anybody who has joined in the past, who will join in the future, we thank you. And you are a part of an elite group of human beings who have said we want to help support C3 for $1.99. All the super chats, we love all of you. Thank you so much. Welcome, Orange Jelly Ninja, to the Superfan Club.
Welcome, Orange Jelly. And look, we got one at the last minute, so we might as well read it. Forest City Kitty says, welcome to Carolina, Adam. Love the show. Keep pounding. Appreciate you, Forest City.
Let's talk about that debate about the size versus Stroud. That's what we should say. It's size versus Stroud is a way to think about it. If this has been a discussion throughout the NFL history, it continues to be one. Here is Frank Reich when he's asked about how they weigh these kinds of things when evaluating a quarterback.
If there's 10 categories that you look at in a quarterback, or any player for that matter, the real question is not how to evaluate each of those categories. That's part of the question. A big part of the question is how much you're going to weight each of those categories. So they're all a factor. Everything's a factor. But ultimately, it really comes down to being a playmaker, being a guy who can make plays all over the field. And that happens a lot of different ways.
You weigh that stature pieces.
Yeah, I mean, that would be like giving the proprietary formula for Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? I mean, I'm sorry. I don't know why that just came out like that. Not that I want to put my evaluation of quarterbacks, on that level of, no, but that's what's unique about every club, right? I mean, we all weight it slightly different. We all weight it slightly different. And so just excited to dig into these guys.
Frank has been, look, man, he's been cool. Look, he's so nice. He apologizes when he doesn't even say anything wrong. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to be a smart ass. And you're like, well, that's actually a great way of describing it. You don't give away the secret sauce, baby. Yeah. You're not going to show your hand right now. We can't show our hand. Thomas Davis, thanks for doing that magic, the sleight of hand for us, baby.
Look, can we just go ahead and play the one with David Newton? Because, dude,
you want to hear it?
Yeah, dude, listen, you have to give credit to Dave Newton.
He wins.
Whether you love him or hate him, he always produces the best soundbite of every single press conference, dude. I'm on your team, Tony. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, you think Frank Reich has been winning these press conferences? David Newton remains undefeated.
How many of the 4 quarterbacks you guys have targeted are you comfortable with that could be the guy?
Like, really?
You said, like, really?
That's a funny question. I think they all have really good traits. I think they all have really good traits.
Out of the 4 guys you've targeted, how many are you really targeting? Who is the guy? David Newton, once again, asking the heavy-hitting questions, bro. Mm-hmm. You guys play him, think he's a fool. He's playing all of y'all.
That's hilarious, man. Dude, how do you not love David Newton at this point?
I know.
Even if you don't like his questions or you don't like his antics, dude, the fact that we get moments like those, it makes every press conference a can't miss press conference.
He's undefeated.
You don't know what he's going to say. And, dude, you know what? I think the people in the staff and on the team, I think they like it. I think they like him.
Who doesn't? Oh,
I mean,
you know
I think
what?
There's plenty of people out there who
I
would
know.
put him on the category of people that they don't want asking questions. I mean,
he's invincible, bro. He is invincible. Do you know how many times people try to get this dude fired? They tag ESPN. They do all of this. David Newton ain't going nowhere. This dude gets more clicks than anybody.
Sure. He's the man, dude. Yeah. By the way, we've had David Newton on the podcast before. We're definitely going to try and get him on again. And, dude, he was cool answering every single question that we asked him. Like, every single thing. So shout out to Dave Newton. He's awesome. Did you have another clip that you wanted to play, Tony?
No, that's it for right now. I want to kind of keep moving through the show. We're doing a great pace right here. I want to remind everybody that the number is 252-228-5098. We want to get your thoughts on this. We've got a lot more to cover. We've got to talk about Cam Newton still. We've got news around the NFL, but we got to get some calls in here, Cody. I feel like let's take a couple of calls before we give them what they really want, which is a little shame in their game.
Oh, let's do it, baby.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty. You shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like.
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in the snow? Who's that kid that can use one?
Yo, C3, it's JJ. I'm calling this week more so because the media just can't be serious. They don't like us, do they? Like every podcast or every other show about sports that I try to listen to or watch, when they talked about the Panthers trading up to number 1, they barely talked about the Panthers. They always talk about the Bears. And I can't be the only one who's getting sick and tired of everyone every day just nonstop talking about Aaron Rodgers. Like,
Thank you.
Who really gives a fuck at this point? And also, I wanted to say shout out to Greg who said ice up to Kendrick Perkins last week about that whole topic in the NBA, because that was also making me annoyed and sick and tired of that shit. So, yeah, I hope everything is going well for y'all. Have a great Tuesday, C3. Keep pounding.
Keep pounding. Appreciate you, JJ.
Greg's new favorite caller right there.
Yeah, it sounds like him and I will get along just great, to be honest with you, because I think we opened the show with me saying exactly that right there. So, yeah.
And you know, there really is this sentiment. And let's be real, there's been this sentiment for a long time, way before this season, that the media, they kind of poo-poo the Carolina Panthers. Like, you know, we're not the big talking point that other markets are tuning in to listen about. Maybe now because we're picking number one, but it does just seem like the mainstream media outlets, like they just have this air of disrespect towards the Carolina Panthers.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe we're jaded. Maybe we're seeing things that don't exist. But so many Panther fans feel like we're just disrespected by the mainstream media, dude. It's sickening.
Wow. Once again, I do believe this is a story written up. I believe the NFL has teams they push that they want to move forward every year, but you can't control everything. And there's always a team that comes out that's not really very prominent in the media before the season starts. So maybe Carolina is meant to be that team. But, I know when we traded for number one, I couldn't wait till that Monday to get to hear NFL shows that came out that Monday to talk about Carolina trading number one. And all they talked about was Chicago.
Yep.
And how Carolina lost. And then through everything we picked up throughout the rest of the week, all I've heard about is other signings everywhere else. I haven't heard anybody talk about Sanders coming to Carolina. Nobody's talking about Thielen. Nobody's talking about Bozeman. Nobody is talking about Carolina stuff in the media. But that's okay. Because usually when that happens, we come in
we're
to
pretty
have a good
good
season. Yeah, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
I think the thing that just I think what's irritated, I won't say irritated about me. I'm just I don't even look at the national media hardly at all anymore. I go to YouTube for even my political news, it feels like, and getting involved with people that I learned maybe start to trust, or I watch for other different reasons because I don't trust them. But I think the thing that's just driven me crazy about this whole damn thing, from fans to not our fans, but other fan bases and that national media narrative, is that we overpaid for this number one pick. And I just don't understand that argument. And that's where I think what Greg is saying, what JJ is saying, does really have some validity in this case, because if this is San Francisco trading up to 3 and whatever the hell they had to offer for Trey Lance, brilliant. Planning ahead, right? I mean, like the other people, this was not an expensive deal to move from 9 to 1 as quickly as we did. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they turn it to questions like, did the Bears fleece the Carolina Panthers, this and that, that's irritating, CK.
Dude, I expressed disinterest of that, pretty early on. Busting with the boys. They had this tweet that they put out, and honestly, kudos to them. And I put this out in my tweet. Like, it's a marketing thing, right? You're out there. Who are you going to cater your market to? The Carolina Panthers, or are you going to cater it to the Chicago Bears? Well, of course, you're going to focus on the Chicago Bears being the winner of that trade, because they're going to be the ones flocking to your podcast, right? So at the end of the day, they're probably winning because their subscriber count is going up, because the Bears fans are like wanting to hear more about how they think that they just fleeced the Carolina Panthers for this trade. When in all reality, just like literally days, if not weeks before this trade, Bears fans were 100% confident if they were going to trade with the Panthers, they were getting 3 first-round draft picks, DJ Moore, Brian Burns, and every draft pick we have this year, right? And it wasn't the case. Like, it just wasn't even coming close to that type of a compensation. But yet, here we are. We're the ones that got fleeced in this entire thing, where now we're going to be potentially getting our franchise quarterback. Did we pay more than I think many of us want to have to worry about paying? Sure. But we've also been without a quarterback for 5 years, right? If we get a quarterback, as Cody has said multiple times when it comes to trading away picks for a quarterback, it is absolutely irrelevant how many picks we've traded away to get the guy. if he turns out to be the guy, we're not going to look back at this moment and say, man, I wish I had those picks back.
Yeah, absolutely.
This was way less riskier, Cody, than the Browns, given everything in the world for Deshaun Watson with all the money. People have shown the hesitation with Lamar Jackson, the money. Now, it's not the draft picks for a lot of that. It's the money and what that does to your ability to build around. He didn't overpay for this. And it turns out we've gotten a little bit more information. Some of this was secretly, and while this, like some people will say, hey, do we really know if this was completely true, the details of this? I haven't verified this tweet, but watching Scott Fitterer's press conference yesterday, he said, look, there were some things that they wanted first that we weren't willing to give. So tell us about what this is about. Bears GM Ryan Poles told the Panthers Scott Fitterer, general manager Scott Fitterer, what?
Yeah, so apparently the rumor is GM Ryan Poles said to Scott Fitterer, if you want to close the deal right now, give me one of these three players. He then requested J.C. Horn, Brian Burns, or DJ Moore. And the question they pose is, did the Bears fleece the Panthers? And no, I'm sorry, C-Dog, I got to disagree with you, bro. But no, I think we fleeced them. Look, man, I love me some DJ Moore, and I am so incredibly grateful for every single thing that DJ has done as a Carolina Panther in his time here. But let's be real, man, we barely ever had winning seasons with DJ Moore. And if you want to go through defensive end, cornerback, or wide receiver, I'm sorry, but wide receiver is by far the easiest of those three positions to refill and recoup. There is no way that we could have gotten rid of Brian Burns or that we could have gotten rid of J.C. Horn and had any chance to replace them in a short, meaningful time period. There was just no way possible. Whereas, I mean, hopefully we'll be able to accommodate the missing DJ Moore much sooner than we ever would have been able to accommodate missing Brian Burns or J.C. Horn. The fact that we essentially only gave up one first-round pick next year to be drafting number 1 overall, I'm sorry, there was no way for Fitterer to finesse this draft better than he did. I think that the Panthers clearly got the best of this trade, and I'm not just being a homer biased Panther fan.
Yeah, I love it. I think, yeah. And I agree is that look, is the only reason people could say J.C. Horn is a guy they'd rather give up is just because he's had injuries in throughout his career already. But at every moment, he's shown himself just as elite as DJ has shown himself throughout his career. And it's a lot easier to find a wide receiver that can, that is in the upper echelon of the NFL than it is any of these other players. Just ask the Carolina Panthers, who got DJ Moore at like 16. And while I think DJ Moore is a very good NFL player, I don't think he's definitely not a top 5 NFL receiver in this league. Maybe you can make an argument, I guess, for top 10 productivity with 1,000 yards and bad quarterbacks. A lot of people are going to give a lot of ifs and buts. But you know what? What do you always say, Cody? Ifs and buts.
Hey, I'm messing up. If my aunt had nuts, she'd be my uncle. And I've been hearing that since I was 10 years old.
Let's go to another call. The number's 252-228-5098. 5098. This is our good old friend, Panther Pickle, and secret friend of G Baby.
Hey, this is Panther Pickle. Let me tell you what, boys and girls. If you think you know exactly what the Panthers are doing, you're screwed. You don't. Because the Panthers know absolutely nothing of what the hell they're doing or who they're drafting anyway. They know what they're doing. They just don't know who they're drafting. You know what? This goes right down to the same story that I said yesterday all over Twitter, earlier this week anyway. One thing is purely evident. That Panther top is split in two. I believe that some folks in that organization, Scott Fitterer being one of them, absolutely love Bryce Young. They love his intelligence. They love they love the intelligence he shows on the field and everything about him. But I think the coaching staff, particularly Frank Reich, has always enamored higher, taller quarterbacks. And I believe that is the difference of the two. I do believe there is a contingent in that fan, the coaching staff or the front office somewhere that likes Anthony Richardson. Now, who that pick is going to be, I don't know. I really don't. I don't even think right now they know. But they're in the process of rolling it down. They'll go to every single pro day involving these four quarterbacks. And I think they're only going to go to Will Levis's pro day just to say they showed up to it. But one thing about it, Panther Pickle will always be a Panther fan. You will not see me slamming my door and walking out. I've been with that organization before the organization was an organization, and I damn will be there till the day I die.
Let me try.
God bless you, and keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Great call, Pickle.
And hit that damn like button, fool. Come on, man.
Hey,
Get him.
Pickle bringing the fire tonight. Let's go, Panther Pickle.
Man.
Let's go back to the conversation of CJ Stroud and Bryce Young. And I'm going to tell you this is I felt like this is each and every week until the draft, somebody was going to be able to make some sort of pitch to me that's going to pick from one player to the other, right? So I'll be CJ Stroud today, and then I'll be Bryce Young tomorrow, and then I'll switch back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah.
But I've kind of tried to convince myself at first that the reason I like CJ Stroud and maybe was underestimating Bryce Young was because of that comfortableness, that ease that comes with that size versus the risk that comes with the smaller statue. But I tell you, the more and more I listen to CJ Stroud talk, I see, people breaking down his film and discussing him. I don't really believe that my decision, my like for CJ Stroud is based on his size. I think he has the intelligence. I think he has the ability that is comparable, if not arguably, a better than a Bryce Young. And here is Chris Sims on why he is the only quarterback that he believes is tier 1.
He's the only quarterback.
He's the only quarterback in tier 1.
So to Chris Sims, there is a clear number 1 quarterback in this draft class.
Yeah.
And that quarterback is
CJ Stroud, Ohio State. CJ Stroud is beyond blown away from what I've saw. I knew it was good. Blown away when I turn on the film and you start to dive into it. Blown away to where the film to me and everything I've seen, I go, this is as close to Joe Burrow as I've seen coming out in the draft here. I mean, when you just talk about great decision making, right? Quickness. I mean, that was Joe Burrow. Oh, boom, read the coverage. Boom, oh, ball goes here. Oh, hey, first guy's not open. Boom, as I'm looking to the second guy, I'm getting ready to throw, and it comes out, and bam, it's flawless. I throw the ball. And then when you talk about hitting the bullseye on a consistent basis, CJ Stroud's ability to make high-level throws and just drop the ball in receivers' pockets, hit them in the chest, wherever, it's off the charts good.
That is Chris Sims on, and you can go on the 33rd something podcast, and they're on YouTube, and it's all old GMs and professional old coaches. Jordan Palmer's up there talking about, he had 3 things that he said, this is what a quarterback needs to advance into the NFL. He believed in a mobility to extend plays. He said, look, CJ Stroud, you might make that criticism, but he's proved it to us that he's mobile enough, not to run 50 yards down the field necessary, but to finish a game with 50 yards rushing by having 6 or 7 8-yard runs, picking up 4th downs, picking up 3rd downs. He talked about the ability to really, what was it? Oh, it was the release, the quick release. And it wasn't what he said. He said, some people make this mistake about the ability to just move your arm fast, essentially, and get out the ball. He was talking about the quick processing release that comes about with is going through your progressions quickly. And then he talked a lot. The third thing he talked about was just that kind of elite accuracy. And he said exactly what you've been saying, Cody. It's not just CJ Stroud having a big arm. He said it's about putting the ball in places to win. And we're not just talking tight windows. He said, yeah, people are going to talk about how wide open these receivers were. Sure, they're going to talk about that. But the thing is he's putting it where these guys are not holding up. I mean, he is hitting them in stride, and he's making them even look more open than they really were. Other quarterbacks that don't have that feel, that touch, that accuracy, they're going to have to slow down. They're going to have to come back. They're going to have to try to speed up. He's making his receivers look great.
He really does, man. I mean, he throws the type of ball where it's like you couldn't go up to the receiver and hand the ball to them any better. Like, he puts the ball in a spot where the defensive back trying to cover just has no chance of even getting their hand on the football. I've said this multiple times now. Even at the combine, you see CJ Stroud throwing balls with touch, timing, accuracy, and literally, throwing the football before the receivers even go out of the break with receivers that he's never prepared or ever trained with ever before. I really do. I love CJ Stroud as a prospect. One of the comparisons that you hear a lot for CJ Stroud is Joe Burrow. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think CJ Stroud has a bigger arm than Joe Burrow. I think he has more drive. I think he has a little more arm talent. And I really do think he has that gamesmanship that you want from a franchise quarterback. Now, you're going to want to see more at the next level, because that Georgia game is really where he had his most complete performance ever. Passing the football, running the football, doing everything required that you want your quarterback to be able to do at the next level. He goes through his progressions incredibly well. He knows leverage. He just understands what to do when the defense gives him a problem. I mean, he's going to have to adjust to the speed of the NFL, but I have no problem with somebody believing that CJ Stroud is the number one quarterback in this year's draft. Boom, boom.
Yeah, no, I agree. The only issue I have with this, and I haven't looked at Sim's other list before this, I agree with what he's saying, and I'm on that same side with CJ Stroud. That's the guy that I'm wanting for number one. I just don't understand how Hendon Hooker and Thompson Robinson move up to this 2 and 4 spot, or 3 and 5.
Who's
spot,
Thompson Robinson?
I don't. That's what I'm saying.
He played for UCLA.
Where is he at? In the 5 spot, tier 4. But
he's
look
right
at the
number
tiers,
5
though. Don't look at the numbers. Look at the tiers, right? Tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So tier 3 is physical attributes, but project, right? Tier 4 is probably who knows what that may be. When it comes to Chris Sims, though, historically, sometimes he's been a little controversial, but he's been kind of, I think the only one that he has been really wrong on is saying Zach Wilson. But also, it doesn't look like that class also at all has really turned out. Who was the best?
Trevor Lawrence, baby.
Oh, Trevor Lawrence. Yeah. Is that, but who are some of the guys he's picked in the past that have been big time? And I tell you, go listen to him, Chris Sims, talk about it, the full thing. He'll do 16 minutes on this. And I got to say, Chris Sims, greater than Dan Orlovsky.
Yeah. By the way, Dan Orlovsky is another person who does have CJ as his number one quarterback in this year's draft class. So, yeah. Go ahead, CK.
I was going to say, I think Dan Orlovsky is a more genuine person with his takes. I don't think he has I'm going to pick somebody just to, or I'm going to have a take that's just going to be getting me clicks. I feel like we've had that with Chris Sims in the past. Nothing coming off the top of the dome, but I remember, there was a time when Chris Sims did some outlandish stuff that Panthers fans in particular were raising our eyebrows at. But nonetheless,
he had Josh Allen ranked ahead of Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, which, remember, at the time, that was blasphemy. That was like, what are you even smoking, right? Then he had Justin Herbert ahead of Tua Tagovailoa. So it seems like a lot of his stuff is clickbait, but he has been right a good amount of times. Okay. He was definitely wrong on the Will Levis pick. No doubt about that, especially
Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson.
Yeah. Zach Wilson, same thing, right? Will Levis, Zach Wilson. Yeah. But especially putting him over Trevor Lawrence. But listen, I do respect Sims' opinion. I like the way he looks at film. I don't have to agree with him all the time. And by the way, I'll say this too: Bryce Young has a ton of tremendous upside as well. Mm-hmm. To me, he's one of the best pre and post snap processors that I've seen coming out of college in a long time. And I do think the offense that he comes from and how much control he had over that Alabama offense is an ace in the hole for Bryce Young, considering that's going to be more NFL speed than what CJ Stroud was doing. So you can make a legitimate argument for either one of these guys being the number one pick to the Carolina Panthers April 27th of this year. But before we ever get to that, listen, man, there's a lot of people in the chat room right now, and we know you like to hear us talk about the Carolina Panthers, but there's one thing that we know you like even more. Talk to these freaks, Big Papa.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, the Carolina Panthers are 1 month away from having a franchise quarterback. You've come here to the C3 Panthers podcast to talk about the signings of Adam Thielen, the press conferences, the news, the pundits, the rumors. But you haven't hit that like button yet? Well, I have one thing to say to all you absolute freaks. Subscriber shame.
$307 people watching right now. What an incredible number. 136 thumbs up. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell for every single time the C3 Panthers podcast goes live. If you would like to have early access to some great film room sessions that I'm doing on this channel, hit that join button for only $1.99 a month and support the C3 Panthers podcast. In-depth film reviews of this year's top 2 quarterbacks. We're going to have a great time doing it, man. And you know, C3 Panthers podcast, we never take a break. We're here year round. So if you enjoy that content, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit that notification bell. Tony Dunn, what's up next?
Let's keep going with these calls.
What's going on, C3 family? D, Sanford, North Carolina. Been a while since I hit in. I really just been absorbing and soaking in all the news we've been making as of late. I've had excitement. I've been happy. Now, I know there's a lot of people out here that believe that there's some other shenanigans, Anthony Richardson and so forth. I kind of honestly believe that we didn't trade from 9 to get to 1 for Anthony Richardson. Now, I understand when we look at the measurables of him, he's nothing but a real-life creator player on Madden with 97, 98 speed. Who's about the size of George Kittle. I understand that. That all sounds sexy and attractive, especially at number 9. But when we're talking number 1, and we're talking Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, We can't guarantee who's going to be great and who's going to be a bust, but we can also say in the same breath that these dudes have gave us a sample serving of a resume to make us think that our franchise could be all right for the next 4 or 5 years and beyond. So I am cool with that. I'm excited about Adam Thielen. I'm cool with Miles Sanders. I'm cool with all the additions, Deshaun Williams, so forth. It's just me, and I'm not trying to scare Panther Nation. But I remember like 1999, 2000, when Snyder was trying to make a leap with the Redskins at the time, and they brought in Bruce Smith and Deion Sanders and Brad Johnson at quarterback, and how horrible they were. And I don't believe that's going to be us. But me being realistic, well, not even realistic, trying to prepare my heart so I just don't get overwhelmed and excited and all this great Pantherness that we got going on. But shout out to Frank Reich. Shout out to Scotty Fitterer. Hey, even shout out to Tepper right now, because at least right now we look like a legitimate team that knows where they're going, know how they're going to get there, and going to execute on getting there. All I want to say is keep pounding, and let's just pray for the quarterback that you want. Let's hope it's either Young or Stroud. If it's Richardson, I'm not going to be upset, but in the same breath, I'm going to be scratching my head. But just like any other thing, man, love to Cody, Tony, and the rest of the whole C3 family. Keep pounding. Hey, congratulations on the new baby that's on the way. Panther family just getting big and bigger. And y'all love how the podcast, just like a baby, continues to grow and get bigger. Keep pounding.
Woo! Man,
Call
what a call.
of the night. Man, the chat's all over it. The chat saying this is the call of the night. I got chill bumps.
Man, the chat room is going crazy for that call. Man, appreciate the call. That was incredible, man. Dude, he checked off so many boxes. Yeah. I even love what he said at the end. He's like, hey, even if Anthony Richardson's the pick, he said, I'm not going to be mad. It's not what I would do. But, hey, you got to support the Carolina Panthers, man, and hope for the best. We love this staff. So, hey, dude, it doesn't matter who it is, man. If it's Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, or me and Wide Big Jordan's boy, Matt Money Corral, it don't matter, baby. We're going to pull for the Panthers no matter what. We are in good hands, better than we've ever had before. That's what it is, man. Appreciate you, D. That was a hell of a call.
Yeah,
Incredible.
man. One of the best calls I've heard in a long time. Let's keep going.
What's up, C3? Evan again here. I just want to come on and say,
what's up, Evan?
Beginning of the stream, I very much agree with you guys. I hella agree with you guys. We are being so disrespected by the national media, by the fact that most of them are saying we got fleeced when we did not, in fact, get fleeced. We gave up, honestly, I feel like, less than we probably would have normally had to for the number 1 overall pick. I feel like, if anything, maybe we won that trade, but I feel like it was a pretty even trade. And I just hate the disrespect, and I feel like this year, with either CJ or Bryce, through that AR stuff that came out today, with either CJ or Bryce, we are going to run this division this year, and for the next few years at least, as long as the QB turns out. And then I also wanted to go into the Twitter controversy of the QB arguing on Twitter. For me, I'm personally a CJ guy. I feel like CJ's the guy we should go with. I do feel like this is ridiculous that it's basically Panthers Twitter split half and half right now, because half of us want Bryce and half of us want CJ or whatever. And I'm kind of fine with both, but as I said, I'm more of a CJ guy, and I'm hoping we go with either one of them. Definitely not AR. I don't think we will, though, for AR. And yeah, I just want to come on and say that I think that we are being so disrespected by national media, and I want to give my input on the QB situation at number 1. But yeah, thank you guys for thank you for having me on, and you guys have a good night and keep pounding.
Keep pounding.
Incredible. The calls are incredible tonight. Love every bit of it. And it is tough, right? But you know what? The good thing is going back to that credibility of Frank Reich. Frank Reich is developing a credibility with us as fans. So if we get, who cares what we think? If they go and pick Bryce Young, we're going to believe that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, if they pick CJ Stroud, we're going to believe that they know what they're doing.
Yep.
You know, and that's the good thing is I feel good with who's driving the car.
To add to that, Tony, a lot of people felt like Fitterer during his press conference, he was dropping clues towards Bryce Young because he talked about him drafting Russell Wilson before. I believe it was Joe Person. Maybe they asked him about what made Russell Wilson the pick, even though he was a shorter quarterback. And he said Russell Wilson never had batted balls at the line of scrimmage, and he did a good job getting the ball out of his hands. And he did all the things that you would want to see from a shorter quarterback. And by the way, Bryce Young only had 3 batted footballs all of last year. So that's another trait that kind of goes in favor of Bryce Young. And it is it does require mentioning that Scott Fitterer was a key factor in the Seattle Seahawks deciding to draft and also undersized Russell Wilson. So maybe that does play in Bryce Young's favor. Man, you better hold on to your horses, people. Pace yourselves because we still have a while to go before April 27th. Don't tire yourself out. We've got a long way to go. Make sure you strap in for the long haul.
Let's go to the next call.
Hey, guys. It's the girl that makes them howl, a.k.a. Joey the Blind Panther. And I wanted to suggest a quick thing about trading down, but not in the first round, in the second round. Dude, trade down. I would trade down in the second or just trade out of the second altogether for D-Hop. I mean, why would you not do that? I mean, this draft is kind of thin in wide receivers anyway. We could we could use some defensive guys like some linebackers and whatnot, but, you know, is Adam Thielen good enough to where you wouldn't trade the 39th pick for D-Hop? Because, especially if you got a defensive player in that trade too. But I know y'all like D-Hop, and I know we need a little bit more help at our wide receiver. But you know what? Now that I said that, maybe with Adam Thielen, maybe you do take a flyer on one of these guys in the draft, and you don't really do that. But is any of the receivers good enough in this draft worth taking at number 39, or are the defensive players better? But I also wanted to shout out a buddy of mine who I met on Friday. I had talked to him in passing in the hallways at work and whatnot, but he gets moved to my department. His name is Alfred. Alfred, if you're listening, keep Bruce in mind. But he is also blind, and him and I work together. And I found out, through talking about the Panthers, because he's also a Panthers fan, he said, you sound familiar. Like, are you on a podcast or something? And I said, no, I'm not on a podcast, but I always call into the C3 podcast. And he goes, that's why you sound familiar. So I'm not the only blind dude that listens to C3. For some reason, he's not on YouTube. I mean, I keep telling him he needs to check us out on YouTube, but he might be listening to it on a podcast form. But anybody, CK, treat him to the voice that makes him moist when I get done with this call, as Coil Array's Players comes on and him and I talk like players. Anyway, guys.
Wow, wow, wow.
Hey, you heard it here first. The #1 podcast for blind Panther fans everywhere. The C3 Panthers podcast, baby. Gotta love it. Shout out to Joey the Blind Panther Esquivel. Dude, we welcome all comers here, baby. Hey, I'm as crippled as they come. Joey's blind. Dude, if you love the Carolina Panthers, this is where you need to be, baby. Shout out to everyone.
It tells you something about the way that the sound of the podcast, the men's voices on this podcast, how it just tickles the eardrums. You know what I mean? Like if we got the people that can hear pretty much every range you could possibly ask for, because they're they're needing to have that super sensitive hearing because of the way that the senses work in the human body, and they're listening to us. Whew. I mean, that's telling you something, man. Joey, that's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear that you're out there also promoting the podcast and the YouTube video or YouTube channel as well, man. I appreciate that, my dude.
Look, that legit makes me happy when people who come on the Friday free for all, or people who come on to the into the cat calls, when they get recognized out in public because of the C3 Panthers podcast. Shit, half of y'all are famous now, man. Come on. That's awesome, bro. We're out here spreading that Panther love, spreading that Panther wealth. Shout out to Joey the Blind Panther.
All right, let's go to the next call.
Hey. You know who the fuck it is. It's my chocolate espresso. What's happening? Yo, I'm making a prediction right now. I'm calling it. I'm making a prediction. You ready for this prediction? I got a prediction for your ass. I got a big prediction for your ass.
Predictions.
Ready? Lamar Jackson traded to the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, yeah. That's happening.
With the 4th overall pick.
That's definitely happening.
Draft Anthony Richardson. Who they get to bridge with Anthony Richardson, you say? I don't know. Cam motherfucking Newton.
Ooh.
That's my prediction. Live with it. Live without it. I don't care. Because I'm drunk. Peace.
So is he saying Lamar goes to the Colts, Ravens get the 4, and they select Anthony Richardson and bring Cam Newton in to mentor him?
Yep.
Is that what they're saying?
Yep.
I do believe that's what he's implying, yes.
And I agree with all that. I just didn't think about the Cam Newton thing because I didn't know anything about Cam Newton until today. But now that he says that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I agree 100% with all of that. I think the Colts are going to do that. My buddy's a Colts fan, and I like the Colts. They're kind of my AFC team. So, I mean, I would love to see them get Lamar Jackson.
Let's talk about Cam Newton, who was in the news today. And beloved by Panther fans, always controversial among all football fans. And on top of that, we're probably going to hear G Baby call in and say how we need to get this guy. We should have gotten him in a Panthers uniform instead of Andy Dalton. But free agent quarterback Cam Newton threw at Auburn's Pro Day. His brother does play at Auburn. He played at Auburn, but Cam Newton was trying to do more than just support his brother. Cam Newton was vocal. He's trying to get back in the league, and he was trying to showcase his arm. He even was called out by some of the media, but my man went in there and said, look, give me an opportunity with a stable franchise, right, with a full offseason. Let me get a lay of the land, and don't ask me to just walk in there and play tomorrow. And I can show you that I'm not just a rando. Cam Newton today throwing, and a lot of videotape surfacing from everywhere that you can imagine. The Panthers Twitter was a hopping.
I didn't get a chance to watch any of it. I saw that he threw a 50-yard bomb, but that was never the issue with Cam, right? Like it was he could make those throws at the beginning of the year. Right. It was always as the year went on that we had the biggest concern with his arm. So like even showcasing the arm talent at a pro day in the off season after having had a lot of time off I don't think that really quells the concerns that NFL teams have, NFL fans have, and you know that too many people have seen take place over the past few years with Cam Newton.
I think that's a fair point. It has been about how the shoulder has held up over time, but we really, man, still, you know, is that I don't know, is that I think it just comes back to like people say that his last years in football were all bad. That's what you're going to hear Shannon Sharp say, this and that. It was the COVID year with New England. I think it was a short camp for him there as well. He got COVID in the beginning. He was balling out before he got COVID, but you're right. CK it slowed down, and it looked like the shoulder was still, and many people were using the terms cooked. And then you go back at a couple of years in Panthers with the Panthers, he was you know, he was injured. He was injured, and again, people were questioning the shoulder. The last thing we saw with Cam Newton was in a very untenable situation under the Matt Rule era. I don't know. Is he cooked or not? You know, is I gotta love Cam Newton and I'm gonna root for him here.
Right.
Cody, anything you saw there, or any of you guys want to respond to what CK said?
Well, I mean, look, we do this every year, and then there's also these Panther fans that, you know, they have it in their mind that Cam Newton's still coming back and that the Panthers are going to want him. And look, man, even if Cam Newton has some good ball left in him, which, look, I still think he does. I agree with him. Cam put out this video saying there's not a bunch of 32 randoms better than me. And he goes out there and, you know, he thinks that he's ready to go out there and ball. I think Cam has to prove himself, because as much as we Panther fans love him and think that he has the ability to do that, the NFL doesn't necessarily view him that way anymore. And in a way, it's kind of sad to me. Like, dude, it's like the mighty have fallen so far. And I feel like a lot of it isn't even Cam Newton's fault. He's been in such bad situations that a lot of quarterbacks would have never been able to thrive in. So I do feel bad for Cam. I would absolutely love to see this man get his chance and get his opportunity to play NFL football again and show that he still has some gas left in the tank. I don't know if that opportunity is going to happen for him, but you know, no matter what, I'm pulling for my man Cam Newton, dude. No matter what he does on the football field, off the football field, I am not a fan of the Carolina Panthers if it's not for this man. Ace Boogie, bro. Numero uno. Number one in your hearts and minds. I love this dude. I wish him the best, man.
Yeah, Cam Newton is one of my loves in life. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's keep pushing through with
a question real quick with that.
Yeah, sure. Please.
What is the one thing we always say about pro days, though? Like, we fall in love with the people throwing these incredible passes and things like that, but it doesn't always. I mean, we saw Malik Willis do just exactly what we just saw Cam Newton do, and we all did the exact same thing. And Malik Willis is certainly not Cam Newton, right? So can we, like, what's the point of this pro day? I mean, outside of his brother, like, what is the benefit to him? What does he think is really going to accomplish? Because I can tell you this, just having workouts with NFL teams didn't have help Colin Kaepernick get back into the league. And I'm not saying those circumstances are identical, but you know, that's, you know, I just don't know what this was intended to accomplish. Was it meant to show the public that he's capable of doing it? Or is it meant to show the NFL teams that he can? Because I just don't know that the NFL teams are going to see this and say, well, you know what? You're right. We're going to go ahead and take another shot at you instead of what they're probably saying before that, which is, you know, Cam Newton doesn't have it anymore.
Well, I think it's an opportunity to show that his right arm and his shoulder is not dead. Like, one of the running kind of tropes the past few years is that Cam Newton's arm was shot. that he cannot push the ball downfield anymore, that he doesn't have that live arm like he used to have. And, I feel like there's a little bit of ego to this too. And Cam still feels like he has some good football left inside him to play. So he wants to go out there and, show NFL teams. And there were a bunch of NFL teams there that, hey, in a pinch, you could do a lot worse than Cam Newton. I mean, case in
hell,
point,
the damn
look at the 49ers. The 49ers last year were down to their, fourth string quarterback. They had Christian McCaffrey getting ready to suit up in a playoff game.
Right.
So you could definitely do a lot worse than Cam Newton.
Can I ask you a question? Just everybody's opinion on this. If with this happening, is Cam Newton more likely to be on a team at the beginning of the season, or is his brother more likely to be on a team?
Ooh, tough question.
To be very honest with you, I don't know a whole lot about his brother. Like, I haven't seen this film. I probably should go and check it out. He also didn't go to Auburn, or he did, but then he transferred to William and Mary, and he played most of his college football at William and Mary. But Auburn let both of them go and show their stuff there at the pro day, obviously because of their connection to Cam. But I don't know. I really can't tell you too much about his younger brother.
That's that's a good question. I think, to go back to your question about Cam, CK, is that, look, you got to put yourself out there if you want to get a date. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to get a date just sitting at your house. And you got to put yourself on a dating site, or you got to go out there and grind at the clubs and the bars or wherever you go to pick up your ladies. One of my friends says that the place to go is the Harris Teeter wine aisle, is where he likes to go. But what I would say is that, is Cam has to probably remind these teams that he exists. That's one thing. The other thing is there's no bad things. There's no such thing as bad press, right? So this is Cam Newton making a storyline that does, maybe tickle the ears of some GMs that have some ideas that look, we saw a story today that the San Francisco 49ers reached out to Ben Roethlisberger last year. And what that meant for Trent, so and it's just really
disrespectful. They didn't even think about Cam Newton.
Well, I don't know. It's something, and there's going to be a lot of people that cite a lot of different reasons, right? Is from race to circumstances to concerns to someone being just kind of a figment of the past.
To him taking 1 million illegal penalties that never got called in the NFL.
But here's the thing: it's like you called if your argument is Cam's arm is cooked, you're gonna call Ben Roethlisberger?
I know. I know. You want to talk about
Tommy John surgery, bro? This is not listen, I'm not sitting here saying that Cam Newton can do it, but if you're going to talk about him doing it over top of Ben Roethlisberger, hell yeah, I'd take him over Ben Roethlisberger right now. And that's no ill will towards what he was able to do in his career, but when there towards the end, the dude was not doing a very good job in this league. He was looking much worse than what Cam did. In a lot of what he was showing there at the end.
How much older is Ben Roethlisberger than Cam Newton?
Way older.
He was in the same draft as Eli Manning.
Yeah, man. He is like him, and going back to Phillip Rivers, another. But here's the thing too. I think with Cam, strangely, and I know some people will associate this with race, and I've long been believing that those are factors, particularly early on in Cam's career, about him having to prove himself in so many different ways. But I think it's more about the how big Cam's person. He looms so large in any room that he goes into. He is a guy that looks cool, is more athletic and looks cooler and awesomer than any dude in the room almost, right? It's like and it's just kind of hard, I think, from his swag to his drip to his personality to the not the entourage, but all of the attention that kind of swirls around him, the discussion you have us people loving, is that I think people get intimidated, particularly organizations get intimidated about just having him in the room, even if it's in a competition mode, if it's in a backup role. And you want to tell me you're going to bring him in to be a backup quarterback to a couple of these guys that he is probably singling out that he thinks he could be better in. And the first time they throw a pick, you don't think that people are going to be looking over and they're going to pan over to Cam Newton on the sideline? And, you know, it's just hard for him to be what do they call him, a jag?
Yeah.
You know, just another guy. It's like, it's antithetical to his ethos and existence.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, man. Cam Newton, he does have this aura about him. But I do think one of his more underrated qualities is that he is a team guy.
Yeah.
Everybody who's around him loves him. He wants to uplift the people around him. And that's why he was so great as a franchise quarterback. He would score a touchdown and he would be celebrating for 10 minutes, smiling ear to ear, giving footballs to fans, making it an experience that nobody will ever forget. I do just think that's really important when you talk about this conversation. And he doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion, for being a team guy that all of his teammates love. They want to rally around him. They want to be the best versions of themselves for Cam Newton. And again, I'm not saying that Cam is going to go on another stretch and be a starter in the NFL. I don't know what's going to happen with Cam. But the circumstances that Cam Newton had to walk into, signing just before the year started with the New England Patriots during a COVID year, didn't have any continuity in that offense.
Didn't take the vaccine, got a lot of controversy.
All the vaccine stuff.
And then now in retrospect, a lot of people are jumping on kind of not the whip, but think of the revisionist point that we get now.
But also, then think of when it comes back to Carolina, that in the middle of the season, he's asked to come in because everything is such shit that the only thing that could provide a little bit of boost to this downtrodden franchise is to bring back the franchise quarterback of yesteryear that we gave the boot in the complete wrong fashion, brought him back in the middle of the year, and then blamed him when things went wrong, and then Matt Rule threw him under the bus.
Right.
So, dude, look, I'm as big a Cam Newton defender as there is, man. I hope he gets another chance somewhere. I know it's not going to be with Carolina, but listen, as long as he's not signing with the Atlanta Falcons, I'm pulling for Cam Newton, man. I want him to be successful against every team not named the Panthers.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I think too is go ahead, CK.
I was just gonna say, I mean, and if you want to look at the other piece to that too, is like his time in Carolina was marred by not just Matt Rule, but the fact that Christian McCaffrey was hurt, marred by the fact that we were dealing with one of the worst offensive lines on the planet, potentially to ever exist in Carolina, right?
Oh, totally.
It was horrendous. You know, he was certainly given the short end of the stick. I had already expressed my belief that Cam Newton had played his best football by that point. So I wasn't of the mind that he was going to come in here and just have a resurgence in his career, but he certainly didn't get a fair shake. And I don't think anybody can look at what happened in New England and think he got a fair shake there either. So I would love to see Cam Newton have an opportunity. My concern is if he doesn't have it, if that is the case, I would rather have him not go out looking, I don't want to say desperate, but like, I don't want that.
Yeah, you had somebody ask, is he having money issues in the chat? Right.
Right.
You have
that honestly crossed my mind. Like,
right?
You know,
I mean,
what has he got? He's got the cigar bar, and his ventures with trying to do the YouTube video, YouTube production and stuff like that seem to have kind of gone to the wayside. I mean, I'm wondering if there is a component of this to where he's like, listen, I need to be back in the league from a financial standpoint. He's got all those kids. He's got a certain level of lifestyle that he's expected to live now. I could see that being a real issue, but I don't know if that's the case. I don't want to make any assumptions about the man with his financial situation.
Yeah, I think this is, for me with Cam, it's always been about something like, because he's been so important to me in my life. It was so hard. It's so hard to see his story end like it did.
Yeah.
And that is for a player that, changed football in so many ways, people will say. I mean, it's so important to our podcast, our franchise, this and that after that, being at the pinnacle in that Super Bowl appearance, that the legacy of Cam Newton is going to be one of injury, what could have been. And, you just would love, and this is what we've hoped for. When he went to New England, I just rooted for him to have a good exit, a good exit from the NFL to kind of silence, too, even the internal people that didn't even think Cam was all that great when he was here. So, whatever you want to see success. If it happens, we will be rooting for him. Cam Newton, though, he could always just go into like getting on one of those shows like Great Talent, America's Got Talent. Like he would be wonderful.
He would be so incredible in situations like that, dude.
Yeah, I agree. But somebody said he loves football. He's not doing it for the money. And I could see that as well. I could see for Cam Newton that he is really disappointed and disheartened that he's going to go down as he's one of the greatest college football players of all time. He's been one of the most successful quarterbacks statistically in different aspects of the game in so many ways, a Super Bowl appearance, and people are going to think of him. Or I think he wants his legacy to mean more. So I think that's important to him. The number's 252-228-5098. We're going to get to your call in just a moment, Anthony. But first to Damon, I believe.
What's up, C3? It's Damien here. I was looking to put this can in the past, let my dreams just, end. I was hoping that for some reason, him being in Charlotte, that it'd be cool to have him come out and announce #1 pick. But then, goddamn, he thrown out another combine. Wish Cam best of luck. I'm happy for what's happening with us. Damn it, we're not getting Dalton Kincaid, but Hayden Hurst is pretty damn sick. Guys, I'm stoked. The free agents are sick. I don't think we're done with the wide receivers yet. Hopefully that's our 39 pick or still on that D-Hop train. C3, great podcast. Love you guys.
Thanks for the call.
Great call, man.
Hey, real quick, I got like three chats from White Chocolate Espresso. Let me go ahead and read these right quick. With the 199, it says he was talking about the trade between the Panthers and the Bears. Couldn't it be a win-win? We get our quarterback and they get a wide receiver. And that's a great point, man. Like, it doesn't always have to be, this team please this team, or this team got the better of that team, or like all the jargon that you hear on the main time sports networks. No, sometimes you have a good trade, and I think the Bears got what they wanted and the Panthers got what they wanted. Great point. Another 199 says first Indy gets their team, and now they get their quarterback, talking about his prediction. It was a great prediction, and it could probably happen. Baker in Carolina is worse than Cam in New England, yet one got a job. Yeah, man,
that's true. That's absolutely true.
Fundamentally true.
That's that's unquestionable.
That one is kind of a dagger to what he's saying. Yeah, there is 100, but then again,
Cam threw 5 touchdowns in his first game, or had 5 touchdowns in his first game with New England.
But Baker
he threw like
also
400 yards against one team early in that season.
I think this signing for Tampa Bay is Baker's also going in there understanding he's going to be having to compete for the starting job. Right. Like he's going to be I know he's going against Kyle Trask, and there's a good chance that he's going to win that starting job, which I'm hoping for, because I'm ready to see the Carolina Panthers just stomp the ever living snot out of him.
Oh, if he beats us, I'm going to fucking go nuts.
Oh man. Right.
Yes.
So, but as far as that being I don't know if I would say that is, but that looks damning just in a vacuum. but I also understand that, Cam Newton, let's be real about it. If there's anybody in the chat, in this, on the podcast who really believes he's going to sign up for going and being a backup, I just don't think you're going to see that being a realistic expectation for Cam Newton.
Right. I agree.
Cam does have all them kids. Somebody said, let's go to Anthony.
What's up, C3?
Anthony.
It's Anthony from Charlotte. You already know. As I should say, C3 Panther Central, because Cody told us to put C3 on our Twitter name, so I guess we're a fucking gang now. But anyways, crazy times, man. As I'm getting done with school, it's almost like I just wish I could flash forward to April 27th so I can buy the quarterback of our team's jersey. But yeah, I love the Adam Thielen signing. Just a couple things on him real quick. Great possession receiver. Is going to play great in the slot with us. He's got better hands than DJ. Doesn't drop a pass. Great signing. Hayden Hurst, big-ass signing. Okay. Miles Sanders, big-ass signing. These are all great free agents that want to come here, man. And I already touched on the defensive guys. And secondly, yeah, I mean, there's not much other to talk to, but they did have press conferences, Fitterer and Reich, and I think it's pretty obvious they're going to draft Young or Stroud. And they basically debunked this when saying, well, game tape's the most important thing. I don't think these pro days are going to change anything, just like the combine. I don't think changes anything. I think it just comes down to how they are in the interviews, what they can do in those meetings. And I've already made my stance on it. I think Bryce Young is the pick. More and more stuff starting to come out by him. Natalie Miller tweeted, I spoke with multiple sources. The consensus is that the Panthers traded up to take Bryce Young. Todd McShay said in a recent video, he has a source that's never been wrong about the top 5 quarterbacks in the past 5 years, and he said that Bryce Young is already the pick. I'm not kidding when I say this. This kid is special. Either way, I'll be happy. But Bryce Young, dude, the kid is fucking special. And with our offensive line and our scheme, he would thrive in it. But then you have, Thomas Davis doing what he gets paid to do, start some fucking controversy. And he goes on ESPN saying, there's some people in the building that are enamored for Anthony Richardson. Yeah, okay, buddy. I love you, Thomas Davis, as a player, but stop being an idiotic analyst. We are not drafting Anthony Richardson. Reich and Fitterer said they want a fast processor, an accurate passer, and he doesn't fit any of those descriptions. Anyways, Anthony from Charlotte, give me your thoughts on the press conference and the quarterback. Keep motherfucking pounding.
Keep pounding. Me and Anthony have had many conversations about this quarterback thing. And, it's part of the reason why I went on that little diatribe earlier when I said I don't think that the Panthers know quite who they want. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I have no doubt in my mind that there probably is a number one in the clubhouse, because Michael Lombardi was doing a podcast and he made that point that NFL organizations, they don't ever have 2 players with an even grade. Yeah, both of these guys are the same prospect, they're the same grade. No one does that. If they're in the same class together, they will have one player valued higher than the other. And that's also going to be true of Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. Now, maybe they did make this trade with the intention of, we're going to draft Bryce Young. In fact, Adam Schefter was on ESPN, and he likened the Panthers' interest in Bryce Young to the 49ers and their interest in Matt Jones. And that everybody knew Kyle Shanahan was in love with Matt Jones and his mental abilities and his abilities to be able to run the offense that Shanahan would put in place. Yet, over time, over the course of their evaluation, that ended up changing. So, I mean, listen, there could easily be a number one. I'm not doubting Natalie Miller or anyone else's sources. I don't know what's real. I also know that this is the time of fake information. And you also don't know that even if you're hearing something, that maybe that person believes that they're giving legit information that they think is legit, but it's not, and it's just meant to kind of throw people off of whatever trail. I don't know what the case is. I think it could be a number of different issues, but it also wouldn't surprise me if Bryce Young is the leader in the clubhouse. He has incredible mental abilities. Everyone talks about in all the interviews that they do with him, he's the type of guy that is diagnosing defenses that he's never even had to play against before. So he is clearly very intelligent. Man, anything can go, man. Truly anything can go April the 27th.
All right, let's go to this. Call is going a little bit back, so I try to play the calls in different types of orders based on the conversation, right? And so I play some of the freshest calls early on, just so that we don't start with things that have been a little dated. But here, let's go to Corey, a longtime listener and caller of the show, friend of the show. Here's he talking about some of the early moves in free agency.
Hey, what's up, fellas? It's Corey calling in. I wanted to just talk about the recent moves. I know free agency has been going crazy, and by the time this call gets played, it'll probably already be outdated. But all well and good. I hope everybody is feeling as good as I am, man. Love the moves. I haven't really had any real beef with any of them, from obviously the signings to restructuring Shaq and restructuring Ian Thomas. It's like, honestly, bro, it's like the Panthers are doing and Fitterer are doing everything that fans have like been clamoring for them to do, just as far as like the little stuff like restructuring Shaq deal and re-signing Bozeman and getting us a real tight end and like being aggressive, trading up for the number 1 pick, like all this shit that, you know, we were just like, man, this is what real teams do. Like, this is what, you know what I'm saying? We've got a very clear path, and I feel like this team has a very clear direction of what they're trying to do, man. I just love it. I think it's great. Also, I found it interesting that now that the Panthers have the number 1 pick, it's forcing people in the media to talk about it more. And you're seeing all these takes, bro, and it's so clear that these are not people that have been around the Panthers or even fucking batted an eye at us or know anything about this team when they talk about the offensive line or they talk about how we're going to be a top 5 draft pick next year. Chicago fleeced us and all this other type of shit. It's like, bro, y'all just don't understand how the position we were in with Matt Rule and the complete 180 that happens the second you get him at the building. But that's a whole other conversation for another day. Specifically, I want to talk about the Miles Sanders deal. I think that shit was great. A lot of, like, you know what I'm saying, $6 million a year for 3 years. People are like, oh, you don't pay running backs and this and this and that. And that's just another thing. I feel like people are just finding something bad to say about every deal. Because this Miles Sanders deal, it's like, okay, you don't pay running backs, you can draft, like, fine. He's not getting paid big money. This is somebody who is produced, was top 5 in the league in rushing last year. Obviously was on a great team. If he can give us a sliver of that Philly production for the price that we're paying him, like, why would we not do that for a rookie quarterback? I might run out of time, but hopefully I can get a part 2 in this, Corey. Keep on. Appreciate y'all.
I like this call a lot. There's a couple of things I want to talk about. The first, we'll start with Miles Sanders, is that people can say that they I love this deal. I love this deal is I think the Dante Foreman, which a lot of people on this show, a lot of Panther fans really like, and it's a good story to cheer for. It's a guy who really, he's a better story to Panther fans than Mike Davis was. And Mike Davis sort of had some of those notes to it. A guy who people had given up on the league, who's just overproduced. Dante Foreman, though, you wonder how much of it's just is it nostalgia? Is it just a good story? Miles Sanders represents a real home run threat that Dante Foreman doesn't. He also shows some versatility in the pass catching game and a lot of things I think that Frank Reich wants to do with his offensive backs. Now, here is that how do we really say, look, as Miles Sanders isn't even old. He's 25 years old.
Yeah.
He came out of the league before or after Saquon Barkley. He was the backup at Penn State to Saquon Barkley, I believe. And you get a guy who's in his prime at 25 years old and coming out of a time where we were just paying Christian McCaffrey, what, 14, 15, whatever million it was. This is how I don't know how we can say that is expensive. And again, going back to what Adam Thielen said, is that he really appreciated the fact that the Carolina Panthers wanted him as a player, not just for a one and done year. And I think Miles Sanders, that deal, I think he signed a deal that was team friendly, but also because he realized that he was going to have a stable future here with this offense.
Yeah, and also he opens up another dimension, being able to catch passes. And
Yes,
again, how important is it to have a reliable check down option, especially?
Well, what was Christian McCaffrey's greatest attribute, right?
Right, 100%. By the way, he's also $10 million less than Christian McCaffrey. And listen, I know we all love CMC, for a guy who is physically a very comparable talent to Christian McCaffrey. I'm sorry, he just is, man. Like, that's the fact of the matter. I mean, he's the same height. He's a little bit heavier. And, the man had almost 1,300 rushing yards last year. So those are big-time numbers. And CJ Stroud and Bryce Young are very good at finding that dump off, that check down to be able to get the ball out of their hands. And now that you have Adam Thielen, you have Terrace Marshall Jr., who's a speedster. You have Laviska Shenault, who's going to be able to make some yards after the catch plays. Then you add Miles Sanders to that mix behind this offensive line that helped us break single game rushing records last year. I'm sorry, there is no reason to not be excited about Miles Sanders, and you can get out of the contract relatively easy, relatively soon. So this is a great deal, man. Fitterer is out there cooking with gas, y'all. What's up?
Another thing that that it was Corey that mentioned is that the Shaq Thompson. What do you guys think? I'll let you guys speak on Shaq Thompson reworking his deal.
Yeah,
it looks like Shaq Thompson could be with the Carolina Panthers to like 2030. It feels like at this point.
I'm not even mad.
Okay, tell me about why. Tell me what happened. Actually, tell the listeners what happened if anybody missed it. And I don't know all of the details. Fill me in on what happened and what it does for the Panthers.
Yeah, so basically Shaq took a pay cut, and he took a rather considerable pay cut. And he reworked his contract and basically signed a new deal in order to make this happen. I'll pull up some of the details here in a minute after we go to.
But it extended it, right? So it makes
it extended him.
Yeah,
it extended. And by the way, it shows. Again, I said this earlier when talking about Adam Thielen. There's a culture thing that goes into this. The Panthers are building a culture, and it's important to have guys that have been here, that have been a part of those teams, that did have that great winning culture. And Shaq Thompson's been a part of that. Listen, dude, there's no way that you can't have a special place in your heart for these Panther diehard players that, no, they don't want to go to some other team and be a part of somewhere else. Shaq would rather take a pay cut and stay here in his home with the Carolinas and continue to build upon this team and be a leader for all the new guys that are going to come in to this Panthers defense. I love it. I'm happy for Shaq. Dude, I'm pumped.
This isn't one of those restructures, though, that just completely moves the money around. I feel like there was a little bit more to it, and like people are saying, he's basically playing for free in 2024. I do hope that that's what it is that it's a belief. We've talked a lot about Frank Reich's credibility. You'd also hope, though, too, does Shaq have any suitors out there? Would be some questions, some different things. I haven't seen Levante David sign. Isn't it Levante David? Did he sign with anybody?
He went back. Yeah, he went back to the Bucks. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, he did.
Hey,
That's nice to have him, and but interesting too that he's going to be trying to adjust to a 3-4, which he's never played in.
Would you like to hear Scott Fitterer's thoughts about Shaq Thompson?
Yeah.
Shaq is, he's a team leader, one of the most unselfish people I've been around, and he wanted to be here. He wanted him to be in Carolina. He loves Charlotte. He loves the Panthers, and what it came down to, we had a conversation. We sat down, in the stadium, and we just talked man to man. Said, "Hey, listen, what do you need? This is what we need." We worked through it. I know he slept on it. He called me back and said, "Hey, listen, this is what I'd like to do," and I can't thank him enough. I mean, it's such a team first move that he did, and a ton of respect for Shaq. And he wanted to be here, and we made it work.
Awesome.
It's just nice to not have to replace one more thing sometimes too.
Yeah. Hey, question by 2024 NFC champs. Y'all want Stroud? What number is he going to wear?
Oh, wow.
Shaq is not giving up number 7. I don't know, man. CJ Stroud's going to have, if we pick him, he's going to have that first pick in the draft type of signing bonus.
God.
You know what I mean? Maybe
I hope
he
this
does.
happens.
Maybe if he does love number 7, he cuts that
He's
check.
got to pay for Shaq Thompson's 2024 season.
Yeah, dude, and maybe Shaq goes back to wearing number 54. I don't know, man. Who knows? I felt like he's played better wearing number 7 than he ever did wearing.
I do. No, that is the
54.
truth. That is the truth.
I think there's something to that. So
I hope that storyline comes about for sure. Let's go back to Corey. Since I made him wait so long, we'll take one more call from him.
Hey man, part 2 of Corey's call. I'll be real quick, but I love the Miles Sanders deal. I knew this was his breakout year this past year, but I just wanted to look up his stats for a little bit more context. Like, Miles Sanders has been a productive player the entire time he's been in the NFL. Like, his rookie year, he ran for 800 yards and put up 500 more yards receiving. Now, that's been by far his best receiving year, but he was a huge threat receiving out of the backfield for the Eagles his rookie year. And hopefully he can bring some of that to Carolina, help out this rookie quarterback we're going to have. But shit, man, like, these last 2 years before that, the 2 years prior to this one, he was on pace for 1,000 yards. He just got hurt. He only played 12 games each of those years. So that's the thing about him. He may get a little banged up. So hopefully we can bring Dante back still, or Chuba takes the next step. Because that's the thing about Chuba Hubbard, man. Like, he's not bad, and I feel like he got a lot of
good
flack.
Either.
Like, he got this kind of this stank on his career, like during his rookie year, and I think even preseason or whatever, he made some bad plays where he looked like he wasn't ready, and that it kind of, I feel like, kind of carried over to a lot of fans' perception of him. Now, don't get me wrong, he still can't catch for shit. Like, I don't want him running no kind of routes or throwing to him at all. He can't catch. But you, like, take the last half of last season when we were, like, a strictly run-heavy, we were fully committed to the run. You can't tell me that Chuba Hubbard wasn't a net positive for this team. Like, this isn't somebody that you wouldn't want as a secondary running back on your team.
Right.
I'm getting off on a tangent on him too, man. But I'm loving the moves. If we can get a DJ Chark or something like that, like, freaking chef's kiss, bro. Because outside of receiver, what can you really say now about the Panthers is, you know what I'm saying, absolutely have to address before the season starts. Like we can still use another linebacker. Obviously, we can still beef up the O-line, get a defensive end, another cornerback, potentially. Obviously, we need more playmakers on offense. But outside of receiver, and we're not done, I feel like we're going to get a pretty solid receiver. We're filling up all these holes to where now we have at least quality NFL starters everywhere. And shit, man, you talk about a team that's rebuilding and was in the hunt for the number 1 pick last year just off the strength of being that bad. That's as good as you can ask for, man. I'm loving the moves. yeah, man, Fitterer is doing his damn thing. Keep at it.
I'm sure Matt Rule will take all the credit for this, but I do want to remind everybody that Deuce Staley is very familiar with Miles Sanders from his time at the Eagles. So that will help inform our decision on this. Let's keep going with the calls.
Hold on. Let me pause you 1 sec, Tony. Shaq Thompson's rework contract is 2 years for $12.6 million with $8.5 million guaranteed with 3 void years on the back end. Shaq Thompson's cap number this year went from $24.5 million to $14 million, man. That's big time from Shaq. Deals includes incentives this season for Pro Bowl and playoff W's. So again, man, Shaq is a team first kind of guy. I mean, he knows that in order to build this team up the right way, you have to have spending money in free agency. And that's why Fitterer said that he's one of the most unselfish guys that you could ever be around, man. And again, remembering that this guy was mentored by Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly, like, he's a mensch. He's an absolute mensch. We love Shaq Thompson. You know, he is, you could definitely do worse than Shaq. So kudos to him.
Let's go to the next call. Yep.
Hey, this is D. Just had a quick thought on Scott Fitterer's press conference yesterday. When asked about Frank Reich, he said that Frank was detailed, that he paints a picture of exactly what direction he wants to go, that he's crystal clear on what he wants on the offense and on the defense. And one other thing he said was that he understands contracts. And he said a lot of coaches just want. That's all they just come to you with their wants.
Oh,
and they don't
good
understand,
question.
what it takes to build a winning team when it comes to contracts and salary cap, stuff like that. Well, the only coach that I know that Scott Fitterer has dealt with as a GM one-on-one was Matt Rule. And, a couple months ago, I think there were reports from within the organization saying that when Matt Rule wanted something, he would just wear you down, just annoy the crap out of you until he got what he wanted.
I do remember that.
And it's just another example of how, polar opposites Frank Reich and Matt Rule are. And, I'm excited. I'm excited for the coaching staff. I'm excited that Scott Fitterer, he obviously respects Frank Reich a lot. Frank Reich is very appreciative of Scott Fitterer. They're both very appreciative of David and Nicole Tepper. So I'm just excited for the direction that they're going. And, obviously I'm excited to see what they do with the number 1 pick. I prefer CJ Stroud over Bryce only because of height. I think to myself, people say, well, look at Drew Brees, look at Russell Wilson. Well, you're already asking this guy to come in and end up being a top-tier quarterback. Right. And now you're not only asking him to come in and end up being a top-tier quarterback, but do it at under 6 foot, which only a handful of quarterbacks in recent history have been able to do that and be successful and not have their height be an issue. So, I'm fine with Bryce Young, but I am kind of hung up on the height thing. And then the last thing I want to say, I'm excited to see what he does after the first pick, what Scott Fitterer and Frank Reich pick after the first pick, because I think Matt Rule had a heavy hand on the draft in the past, and we could see that, outside the first round, we hadn't hit on a lot of other guys, so with the exception of maybe Chin. So I'm just really excited to see what he does with the other picks. We know he can work around and gain picks during the draft and everything like that, but seeing what they actually do with those picks and how many players become really good, franchise type or really good plug-in and productive players for the Panthers. Anyway, appreciate you guys. Have a good one.
This has been the night of calls, dude. This has been one of arguably the best nights in the show's history with calls. We've had some fantastic ones, and I think he raises some really important points. Is that now, we get to see Fitterer, and this is what we've been waiting for. Is like he was a wet noodle until this moment, and it maybe not have been his fault. We talked about he mentioned the Matt Rule wearing you down. He talked about all these other dynamics, and it just is like, it feels like, again, this goes back to how cool Frank Reich is Frank Reich doesn't have to prove to Fitterer or to Tepper, it's not a dick measuring contest for him.
Yeah,
You know?
do y'all think so? That's kind of the question. I'm so happy that the caller brought it up. A lot of people felt like Fitterer kind of took a jab at Matt Rule, saying there are coaches who want, and yet they don't even know what it takes to get all those things that they want. And he's right. There were a lot of rumors about Matt Rule being very demanding, in a lot of different ways about the things that he wanted. To me, this reeks of the Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield trades.
Right.
That him and Phil Snow, they thought they saw Matthew Stafford in Sam Darnold, and then they were like, yep, that's the guy we want. Make it happen, Fit. And because Matt Rule was given the keys to the kingdom, Fitterer had his hands tied. So now you're finally seeing what Fitterer is capable of as a general manager. And dude, listen, people when Gettleman was here, everyone used to say Gettle magic. That Dave Gettleman had the Gettle magic. Well, I like it better now. It's Fitterer and his laser eyes, baby. Fitterer with the beams, like he's what's the Terminator called? The
T-1000?
Yeah, the T-1000. Dude, he's on his T-1000 shit, bro. He's out there making moves, bringing incredible players to the Carolina Panthers at a value price. Dude, there is literally nothing more you could want from Fitterer, man. Maybe you might want it D-Hop, but dude, so far, beggars cannot be choosers. Fitterer has done an incredible job.
It shows you how cruddy Matt Rule was.
He was terrible,
just
man.
really shows us. I mean, gosh, and it just gets worse and worse and worse as more stuff comes out. I saw somebody put up the video today of, remember when Matt Rule was doing those defensive bags?
Oh yeah, going through the drills on the back. He's such a nerd, dude.
Yeah. A guy at work said this because I said it's nice and somebody brought this up earlier, is we needed this type of coach with Cam Newton when we drafted Cam Newton. Is that I don't trust that Matt Rule knows a lot about football. I'm not saying I know more than him or something, but like, is that and this guy at work said, I thought this was a cool way to describe it. He said, Matt Rule's a CEO who surrounded himself with football guys, and so like that's where we heard about him leaning on Phil Snow so much and different things, right? And he couldn't, he couldn't really deal with. That's why he had to get these offensive coordinators. He could just never be the guy on any of those. That's not what he is. So let's keep powering through with these calls.
Yo, what's good, C3 Nation?
Oh, crap. Sorry. Pushed the button by accident. Where the hell did it go? Where were we at?
He said, what's good, C3 Nation?
There it is. I got it. I think this is it.
Yo, C3, it's JJ.
Nope.
Not the right one.
I'm calling this.
Not the right one. Let's see if it was this one.
Yo, what's good, C3 Nation?
Yep.
It's been a long time since I called. It's been a minute, man. But this is Slim Jimma from the West Coast, the best coast.
What's
Calling
up,
in from
Slim?
San Diego, California, man. It's been a minute. Listen, I just wanted to call in just to talk about what's going on with the first overall pick, the quarterback we should go get, all that jazz that's going on right now. And I've been doing some film review, and honestly, I don't understand how there's any question of who to get at number one. I think CJ Stroud is the only guy that looks like he's ready to go play tomorrow.
Dude.
All those other guys, I don't know about, man. But CJ Stroud, you watch this tape, bro, it's just like, wow. He literally does everything you want from a pocket passing quarterback. And it's crazy that people are trying to knock his game because they say that he's not as mobile as they need to be. But it's so crazy, bro. Like, who are the last quarterbacks that won the Super Bowl? Were they all mobile quarterbacks? Like, you don't need to be old boy from Baltimore in order to be successful in the NFL. So it's kind of crazy. And I can't believe that's their one knock on CJ Stroud is that he's not as mobile as the other guys. Like, listen, man, I don't need my guy being mobile. I need him to run when he can, but I want him to look downfield and hit strikes from anywhere down the field. And honestly, CJ Stroud is the only guy that I see who has done that consistently. There's literally nothing else that people can say about him. They say he's inconsistent, but I don't understand. Old boy from Alabama, Bryce Young, that nigga's nice, man, but he ain't Russell Wilson. He ain't Kyler Murray. He ain't these little quarterbacks that are just gonna go kill it up, bro. He literally played behind one of the best teams in the college football for Alabama, and that dude had everything. He had weapons. He had a line. He had everything he needed, bro. Ain't no way he's gonna go take all them hits and make all those Houdini plays in the NFL. He's not that fast. He's quick, but he ain't that fast. He could barely see over his own line. I just don't understand how there's any question about who should be number one. In my opinion, there's one real number one. You might even say there's 1A, 1B, but I don't want to say that. I think there's number one, then there's a gap, and then there's Bryce Young. And I don't care. I don't even need to talk about how tall Bryce Young is. None of that stuff, man. CJ Stroud just looks like the guy who has it all put together. He has everything, bro. And when he does decide to run, he'll run enough to get you the first down or whatever you need to keep the play going. He has that capability. Honestly, CJ Stroud reminds me a lot of Deshaun Watson. Oh boy, Deshaun Watson doesn't run that much, but when he does, he can't.
Oh, I got cut off. Appreciate you, Slim. And to even add on to his point, I wouldn't even say that it's that, he's just mobile enough. It's not that CJ Stroud isn't mobile, but again, that's why I like the Joe Burrow comparison. Joe Burrow is not the Josh Allen type to just run all over you on designed run plays. That's not going to be him. That's not going to be CJ Stroud.
Neither is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, true. Right. And that's my point.
But
he's mobile
elusive.
enough.
Yeah.
He's mobile enough to extend the play from inside the pocket. And when everybody's covered downfield and there's a lane for him to run and pick up that first down, that Georgia game showed that he has the capability and the wherewithal to be able to do that. There was also some rumors that he was a little bit injured this entire year, so he wasn't necessarily at full health with the ability to run around like he wanted to. So if you take him at his word, we haven't even seen the best of how mobile CJ Stroud could be, let alone once you put him in an NFL strength and conditioning system, maybe put on like a good 5 pounds of muscle, nothing too much, but just, rock him up a little bit more, get him strong. And yeah, I think that would be a fantastic pick. And I like the fact that he also said it doesn't even matter about Bryce Young's size. He just thinks that CJ is the better.
That's what I want to hear.
And I respect it.
This is CJ Stroud kind of talking about some of those questions that people have asked him about his mobility. He said, I'll be honest, I told NFL teams, like I tell y'all, I didn't do a lot of it in college, and I feel like I should have. It's something I do regret. I feel like I could have done it a lot more. But I think when you turn on the film and you really watch what I do and you really look at the film from game to game, I've used my athleticism not only just in the Georgia game where I did it a lot. I've done it in every other game. I've had tough third down runs. I've had tough fourth down runs. But there were times I didn't run the ball where maybe I should have. I feel like that's something that I learned, and that's what football is about. It's about stepping back up to the plate and going back, working hard and fixing those problems. That's something I plan to fix and show them my athleticism. I've done it before in film, but since people don't think I can do it, I'm going to do it again. I think this is, what makes me feel awesome about this is look how damn well spoken this kid is.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? It's like, put him up in front of the mic. He's ready to be a
him
team
and Young
leader.
Both, though.
Yeah.
Young was the same way, dude. Watching some of his interviews made me just think that this dude was ready to be a leader of a team immediately as well. What I love is that next part. It said that his first carry of his career as a freshman went for 48 yards against Michigan.
Yeah,
like as a touchdown. Like, dude, that's just stuff that you don't hear of when it comes to Stroud. But that's not a bad thing, right? When people are taking off running, like it's not inherently from a good football standpoint, it's not great that your first instinct would be to run. The fact that he wants to try
beat
to
you with his arm,
get through his projection or progressions, and make sure he's doing what he's been coached to do. The dude, I mean, it tells me that this dude has grown since he was a freshman in college, right? So I love that. And I love, like you said, the way that he approaches this. I mean, the dude, he doesn't have to be, and he doesn't have to be Anthony Richardson athletic, right? He just has to be elusive. That's it. Like,
isn't it ironic, CJ, or isn't it weird that for every time people have been critical about if he was a mobile quarterback, it would be like, oh, I wish he would throw more and not move to choose to run more. And now that he tries to choose to throw, that people are like, I wish he would run more in this. And here he is just going to what Cody said. He said he felt really, really healthy with the Georgia game after dealing with some hamstring injuries, which weren't disclosed throughout the season. But he continues, this is what I like. This is what we all want. This is what everybody tells us. You want a quarterback who beats you with your arm. It's nice to have athleticism. It's a nice attribute. But you want, I mean, Patrick Mahomes beats you with his arms. Yeah, sure, he's mobile. You know, you want Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. Yeah, they have mobility, but you want these guys extending plays, not running.
Well, and the thing
their
that
main
I think,
attack.
The thing that I think is let's talk about the reality of where these are coming from. It's Bryce Young fans talking about CJ Stroud. That's why his negative things are coming up. It's CJ Stroud fans talking about Bryce Young. That's where his negatives are coming about, right? And that's not saying that none of these guys have anything to work on, but when you're talking about the mobility of CJ, it's clear that that's almost a false flag at this point. It's just something that they've used because he hasn't run in college. It's the thing that I think is interesting between the two is the biggest gripe, as Greg talks about with Bryce, is not coachable. Like, it's not. There's just nothing you can do about his height.
Yeah.
Can he
overcome that?
Can he overcome it? Yes. But I've said this from time and time again on this podcast. I don't want to constantly go after the exception when the rule has been the rule for a reason. Right.
Especially when the other rule guy is so damn good.
Right. And that's the thing is it's like when you're talking about comparing apples to apples, I just feel like CJ Stroud. Here's the thing. I am not a football fan. I am not. My only exposure to CJ Stroud was that Georgia game. And I fell in love with what I saw from him in the biggest moment of his career in a time when, let's be real about it, all the cards were stacked against him, against one of the, if not the best NFL college defense in the entire college football. The dude showed up on the biggest stage you could possibly ask for. And he showed up in every way you can ask for him to show up, with his legs, with his arms, with his leadership, and with his poise. The dude showed up, and I cannot help but be absolutely enamored by what I saw from CJ Stroud in that game.
Yeah.
Like Alex Mex Pro said, or he said, go and watch, and suggested Chris Sims, which we played a little bit of his discussion about CJ Stroud earlier. He does love Stroud, and he talks about a lot of these things in detail. It's good to, look at a bunch of different people and hear their takes. But, man, Chris Sims makes you feel better about these guys. Go watch Jordan Palmer. I haven't really heard this. I haven't heard anybody – you know what is that this is all they've done is praise Stroud. That's what I've heard. I've just heard Stroud praise. So I haven't heard real negatives to his game. Let's go to the next call.
Panther fan 2222 here. Appreciate what you guys are doing all season. I'm so fucking pumped for this next year. Can't wait for this draft to come up and see who we get. Doesn't matter all these people we're putting around it. We're actually starting to look like a real competent NFL football team. Thank y'all for all y'all do. Everybody keep motherfucking pounding.
Keep pounding. I like it.
Short, simple, and to the point.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Tony, Cody, CK, and the Bat Daddy Badass Boy Toy.
Oh,
Panthers have not addressed the middle linebacker position.
Yeah,
Now, I know for Shaq Thompson, he took a pay cut, but let's face it, Shaq Thompson sucks. Or maybe on a good day, he's an average linebacker. But what you really want on this defense, I think that the weakest part of this defense is the middle linebacker. You need an enforcer in the middle, a tackling machine. Panthers have addressed the offensive line, the defensive line in the draft, the quarterback position, and they've done the wide receiver position, even the defensive back position. What can they do at this point to fortify the middle linebacker, the inside linebacker position? Because if we want to Panthers run a 3-4 defense, they need good linebackers in the middle, your tackling machine, the enforcer in the middle. Now, do you think that stud from Clemson will be available by the 39th pick in the second round? Or how can they fortify the middle linebacker position and to turn this good defense into a great defense? And with a young, promising quarterback, should be very interesting. And I can hardly wait for September for game day. Bye-bye.
This is when you get mad value in the draft, Cody.
Yeah, man.
That's what I think. I think you can get a guy in the second or the third. Look at what the Bucks have done. Look at Levante David.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, there's a lot of good guys in this class. Jack Campbell, Trenton Simpson, as he mentioned. The guy from Cincinnati. Maybe the chat can help me out. His name escapes me right now. I'm going to get down pat on all these names before the draft, I promise. But no, listen, there is a great opportunity for us to be able to add through the draft this year and add to that linebacker position. I've said this a while ago. To me, the number 2 question in all of Panther fandom, besides Bryce or CJ, is what do we do with that number 39 pick? Because I think you can make just as big of a case for another edge rusher, another middle linebacker, and another wide receiver, or even another wide receiver.
I'd love to see a linebacker because that's one of those positions that sometimes I feel is similar to running back, is that it's one of the easier positions to transition in the NFL to. Like your athleticism and things help you so much.
Sure.
And like defensive end takes time for those guys to come along. Sometimes if they're projects, I just think all of a sudden, and here's the other thing. We haven't got Young at linebacker in a minute, unless you want to talk about Brandon Smith, right? I guess is that he's the one guy, but we've tried Corey Littleton. We've tried Tired Whitehead. We've tried all of these people. And now Shaq's coming back on a discount and likes to be in Charlotte. Maybe he'd be a good mentor for some of these players, particularly. I mean, so that's my thing. I think you get a lot of value in the draft. Let's keep going with these calls.
Hey, excuse me. Hey, C3, what's up, guys? I love me some DJ Moore, but no, we can't give up Horn or Brian Burns with the 2 first-round picks or whatever we gave up.
Agreed.
DJ Moore is much more people, easy to replace than a lockdown corner. And a decent pass rusher. He could have been better. I probably would have took the 2 picks from the Rams, though, last year, honestly. But, I mean, he's a proven commodity, like you say. Proven pass rusher, 10 sacks, I guess. Not too much, I don't think that good on the run, but he could drop back in coverage in this 3-4. He should be all right in this 3-4. So, yeah, DJ Moore is definitely the choice. All right, guys, have a good night. I might call back later.
Yeah, appreciate the call, man.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it, Al. You're the man, dude.
Absolutely.
DK.
Yeah. Hey. I feel like this is the most non-news that we haven't even talked about it until 11:40, until the 3.5 hours into the show, or 3 hours into the show. We did re-sign Henry Anderson to the team. So you're welcome for bringing that up. So,
He wasn't bad though. He wasn't terrible. Yeah,
but that's what I mean. It's the most non-news news. It wasn't like it wasn't. Oh my God, we signed that guy. It was just like, hey, he's back. You know what I mean? It wasn't.
Dude, you mean you're not pumped for Henry Anderson, dude?
Listen, I'm not negative. I don't think he's a bad player. I don't think he, improved the defense to a level to where it was noticeable last year. But I mean, hey, listen, we need the depth, and if he was willing to come back to Charlotte for a team-friendly deal, then I'm happy to have him back.
Be interested to see how he fits in this scheme. How big was he? He was a kind of a bigger guy, but I don't know. I wonder how he'll be able to hold up in a 3-4. He's certainly not agile enough to play as a linebacker.
I think they just need bodies. Like 704 Godson said, is that 3-4 depth. You're going to need those 5 techs that are going to be your defensive end in a 3-4. And you need bodies, man. Like, so much of the defensive
giving those
line
big boys a break a little bit. You can't
rotation.
just have,
You have to be able to rotate guys in and out. And I know a lot of people really don't like YGM at this point, but he's still on the team. He's still under contract, and he's going to be another body that is going to have to be able to fill in for Henry Anderson and for some of these other guys to be able to go in and pass rush and be able to stop the run and be able to do it all. So, I mean, listen, it's not going to make you jump for joy, as CK was saying, but, it's also a quality depth piece that you're going to need going into the season.
I forgot this. Remember he had a stroke last year?
Oh, that's right.
And then came back. It was like, so you know what? You're wondering if, some guys can come back after the bye week. This guy has a stroke and comes back.
Oh, that was him? Yeah. Dude, I completely forgot about that.
Wow. All right, let's go to the next call.
I see the image in the stream had Stroud number 7 and Bryce number 9, like 7 and 9. Like the teams who draft these two bums are perpetually going to be 7 and 9.
Oh,
but, hold on, I know there's going to be.
Wow.
But I was waiting for like the last and whatever you guys play, like when something controversial gets said to play. My next point is: do you see Cam Newton throwing at Auburn today? Do you see his video posted on IG last night? That man ain't done. The haters. First of all, they wanted Cam to fail when Cam first came to Carolina. Many people, even in the fan base, wanted Cam to fail. And now that he looks like he's out of the league, everyone's like, "Woo, it's good to get him out of the league," because a lot of Cam haters out there. But, today, working out at Auburn, and if Cam was in the draft with these guys, 34-year-old Cam, who's going to be better for the next 5 years? 34-year-old Cam or CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, these bums in the draft? Cam would give you the best chance to win for the next 5 years. And David Tepper, his birthday is 9/11, like September 11th. And what happened on September 11th? The Twin Towers came down, and David Tepper from the Steelers, and the Twin Towers were steel. And ever since David Tepper bought the team, everything's just been going to shit. It's all symbolism, you guys. But if the Panthers don't end up bringing Cam back and trading out of the first pick and then getting still Will Anderson or Jalen Carter, if they don't do that, the Panthers are going to be just completely fucked. And Cam, he's going to be dominating in Baltimore.
Wow. Dude.
Or Atlanta. Is an outside chance it's Atlanta, but I'm thinking Baltimore. And Cam in Baltimore is just going to completely shut up the haters, because what we're talking about is, I'm thinking 5-6 years of prime Cam in Baltimore, and Baltimore's a better organization than the Panthers. So they're going to do a better job of
Kev said it's all connected.
Him with like Fire and Bell and Nate Chandler in Carolina. Just complete trash. He just carried this whole team, and the people.
Hey, 10-foil hats.
Oh my god, LMAO. Oh my god, LOL. Oh my god.
Serious though.
Bro, 10-foil hats in the chat, baby. Whoa. Dude, that's
all
call.
connected. At first he said the when he it's all
That would wore me
down.
out. Yeah.
There's a lot to that. Let's keep
Talking
going.
about Twin Towers.
I know.
Well,
I mean, 7 and 9.
My
He's
man
like,
came from left field.
Let's go to the next call. That's not your calls, though.
Calling out from California, Panthers fan. Just calling to try to weigh in, and I'm so pro Bryce Young. I just feel like that he's a much, better quarterback, and I just want to tell you guys why. Yeah, so call him back 209-781-5100.
Appreciate you, man.
We thank you for the call.
For those who don't know, for all the new viewers, it's a voicemail.
Right.
Not a one-on-one type of call situation.
Although I'm sure people would probably pay for CK to call him back and talk.
Oh, I know. That's going to be the subscribe. That's going to be the new
pay me when I call them. So, but in a
pay
different way.
$20 a month to have the sultry stylings of CK whisper sweet nothings in your ear
without ruining your credit.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next call.
It's me, C-Dog, 1983.
C-Dog.
Real quick, man. The only way we win that trade with the Bears is we keep DJ Moore. With us trading DJ Moore, we got fucking fleeced for the #1 pick, period. If we keep DJ Moore, I don't have anything to say. But we gave up too much. You can't tell me we didn't give up too much. And everybody talking about, we didn't do this with DJ and that with DJ. How many fucking quarterbacks did DJ Moore fucking play with? What the fuck are we fucking talking about? Then fucking you had to goddamn deal with Matt Rule bullshit for 3 years. Man, you motherfuckers sound goddamn dumb as fuck right now. But I tell you what, next year, when we don't have a #1 receiver, when look, who the fuck is gonna get double team on this offense now? Fucking nobody. What the fuck we talking about, man? The motherfucker talking about Hayden Hurst. Hayden Hurst is a fucking jag. Just another fucking guy. What the fuck are we talking about? Then the Miles Sanders got them signing. He's a fucking finesse back. Him and Tuba Hubbard do the same fucking thing. But I tell you what, him and Tuba Hubbard can't get to the goddamn 30 inches or 30 fucking 1. Cause they ain't no fucking power running back. So you better goddamn draft a fucking power running back in the fucking draft. You better draft a goddamn rookie tight end. The fuck? I just don't know, man. Y'all niggas still goddamn sprung on fucking quarterbacks and stuck on this quarterback shit. We've been doing the same shit since Cam Newton been gone. Y'all still on this same ass shit. Ain't got to fucking nowhere. What the fuck? Motherfucker like goddamn Frank Wright is a fucking quarterback whisperer. He had fucking Andrew Luck for 1 year. Andrew Luck fucking retired. What the fuck are we talking about? Frank Wright doesn't call plays with the goddamn Eagles, man. I'm just on a goddamn rant right now. What the fuck? What the fuck are we talking about, man? Fuck, man.
Here's
Adam Thielen. Come on, man. Oh my god. I tell you what, Adam Thielen could have made that play at the end of the game against the motherfucking Falcons because his ass too fucking old, motherfuckers. Anyways, whenever you come in here, make sure you hit the motherfucking like button.
Yeah, see, that's why we love to
subscribe to the great fucking content. C-Dog 1983 podcast coming soon. I will be breaking down movies and TV shows.
Nice.
My podcast
Nice.
will be mainly
I like it,
movies
man.
and TV shows.
Hey, C-Dog, hit me up, man.
Podcast. Shout out to goddamn Panther Pickle. Shout out to motherfucking D-Baby, the motherfucking GOAT. I hope everybody have a great fucking Tuesday. I hope everybody have a great fucking week. Keep motherfucking pounding. C-Dog 1983 out. Good night.
See, look, that's why we love C-Dog, man. He'll come in here and said that we're acting like a bunch of dumbasses talking dumb about the Panthers, but then still tell everybody to like and subscribe and hit that damn notification bell. Shout out to the homie C-Dog, man. That's
He's
my
great.
bro.
Yeah.
That's the
It was
bro.
a good call, too. If you
It was
think
a
about
good
it, you might
call.
not love
Yeah.
it. You might not agree with some of
Right.
it, right? And he's just the only reason you don't like that call is because he's not agreeing with you.
Right.
And not
Right.
you, any one of you in specific,
And
whoever
it's not like we haven't been wrong before. So
Right.
fuck.
Exactly. But here's where I will challenge C-Dog a little bit. And I respect the opinion he has, because I don't think anybody here is happy that DJ Moore is gone, right? But the challenge I would have is, for the past 5 years, we've complained about doing the same thing over and over with regard to quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Well, over the past 5 years, we've also done the same thing over and over by maintaining DJ Moore on the squad, right? So this is the first year we're trying something different, right? And it hasn't worked up to this point doing what we did in the past. I think moving up, making a decision to go after a quarterback that you have conviction in, as they say, I think that this is the only way that this would have worked out. And it's almost poetic, and it's a bittersweet thing. But the fact that DJ Moore was here for 5 years and we weren't able to find success, again, not all DJ's fault, but it shows that DJ Moore being here wasn't going to be the reason we succeeded, right? He would be
a
helpful
wide
piece.
receiver with a quarterback is not a wide receiver.
There you go.
You know, I mean, like, it doesn't matter how. Look, go down the list of people who are the great. And Randy Moss, when he was in Oakland, was nothing, right? You put him with Tom Brady, he's back to being the GOAT. DeAndre Hopkins, before Deshaun Watson got there, right? Look, Calvin Johnson. Look at that, right? Is that it doesn't matter unless you got a quarterback. Let's go to the next call.
Yeah, this is Al again, fellas. Man, I love me some Cam. My favorite player ever. Fucking a dog. Fucking champion, college champion, Panthers legend. But man, Cam is washed, bro. He's done. He might get a shot, but I mean, don't expect nothing. He ain't gonna be doing that much no more. I think he should stick to podcasting and playing Madden or something. But I hope he gets a chance that where he can come in, maybe be like a backup and maybe like on a championship team or something. I don't know, but I think he's done. He's done. He's definitely done. But we'll see, man.
Yeah,
I'm rooting for him, but it's not looking good for Cam.
Appreciate it, man.
But all right,
let's go to the next call. Got 3 more.
What's going on, C3? I love the show.
Thank you.
I was listening to the podcast yesterday. I had 2 notes. They spoke about using Lubu as a middle linebacker next to Shaq in the base defense. A lot of people were penciling him in as an edge kind of pass rusher. Doesn't sound like that's the plan with him. With that being said, we still have a pretty big hole opposite Brian Burns. I wonder, maybe we could bring in a guy like Unique Ngakwe. Maybe the guy from the Rams that was an outside linebacker. It also shows maybe they're not as high on Brian as Brandon
Leonard
Floyd.
It's not a terrible idea.
No, not at all. Is this call over?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, no, listen, I think that would be great. I also, look, there's been a lot of talk about both Jeremy Chin and Frankie Louvu playing some of that outside linebacker role. Right. And I think it's legitimate to question how they would hold up in those spots, considering none of them have been pass rushers in their career. A lot of the sacks, Frankie Louvu was number 2 in sacks for the Carolina Panthers last year, but most of that was on blitzes and some design stunts that kind of, it allowed him to get open. I don't necessarily know
can
if
do it.
Yeah, but Frankie Louvu is not. Frank,
yes,
no,
look at their measurables. Look at their measurables.
Just because someone's measurables are similar doesn't mean that they have the same hip flexibility, that they can bend the arc the same kind of way, that they have the ability to defend against the run. it's really tough for me to say Frankie Louisville is about to go out there and be Hassan Reddick. Like, that's a big time.
No, I'm not saying, but
man.
a lot of people didn't. Hassan Reddick was actually playing out of position when he was at linebacker.
True. No, you're right.
Or like, you know what I'm saying, is like they tried to do some different things with him. It's like, so I mean, it's not out of the question that he could, that he couldn't succeed. But I do think what the Panthers see him as being moved around. They see him in that role in some instances, and then some instances doing some more of the traditional linebacker stuff. All right, let's go to the next goal.
Hey. It's again my chocolate espresso. How are y'all?
Oh shit!
What's up, Kev?
I'm planning a trip right out to Kansas City during the draft. I want to be there because it's actually free to get in. If anybody doesn't know that, it's free to get in the draft. So I was thinking about going out there. I could be a correspondent to C3.
Yeah.
You want me to pass out? I could pass out to all the Panther fans going to attendance at Kansas City. I can do that for y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, brother. Or son.
But yeah, I'm going to be there. How y'all draft party? I can be there with my cell phone, show the video of the stage.
Oh, that would be so dope.
Information at the Kansas City draft. Something like that.
For us before.
But that's something I have.
Nova Black.
Also, another idea I have is Scott Fitterer and David Tipper to again continue the tradition. Because let's be real, this is a tradition now. A tradition of never drafting a Clemson player. Continue that tradition. So I want to see Cody cry. Take the Clemson player. That's all. Goodbye, boys. Peace.
He started so strong and then had to end it like such a little prick. Like a Gamecock fan is, dude. Listen, in the past, during our draft party, which, by the way, we're doing again this year. Yeah. It's a tradition. That was the first time I ever came on the C3 Panthers podcast in person. Was the year we drafted DJ
Brian
Moore.
Burns? Oh, was it DJ Moore?
Yeah,
it was
the year
Burns.
the year we drafted DJ Moore. And, dude, this year is going to be even bigger. And, dude, if we had Kev at the draft holding up the phone in Kansas City,
we gotta have
that would be the shit, bro.
Yeah, it would.
That would be incredible. Right now, the best moment in our draft history is Nova Black. He went to Bank of America Stadium during their draft party, and we got to see them announce it from the Jumbotron in Bank of America Stadium.
I thought that was the Brian's, but did he announce DJ
that was
Moore?
Brian. No, that was Brian Burns.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
okay.
you got him flip-flopped. But, yeah, man, the draft is going to be incredible this year. We're already trying to come up with some new surprises and some cool things that we can do. Keep it tuned into C3, man. We've got a bunch of content coming for y'all.
All right, let's get through these last two calls.
Hey, I want to talk about CJ Stroud versus Bryce Young. I want to talk about watching the tape. I watched the tape yesterday. I want to tell my details about pretty much the differences in tape. I do feel like I'm probably people won't like this comparison, but pre-injury, Dak Prescott. As you watch him climbing up the pocket, he hitches before he makes his throw. But that simple hitch pretty much is like an indication that he made his decision and he's going to step up and throw. So I do like how he maneuvers the pocket. He doesn't even run as much, but I feel like pretty much the floor is Dak Prescott. Floor, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff. I think the ceiling is actually, yes, Deshaun Watson.
Wow.
Your thoughts?
Cody, I'm going to let you take this because it touches on so many of your favorites.
Dude, listen, everybody knows I'm a Clemson fan. If you didn't, now you do. Deshaun was my favorite Clemson player ever just because of the memories. And, dude, if he ends up being the next Deshaun Watson here in Carolina, without all the creepy, touchy-feely bullshit, hell yeah, dude, sign me up. I really like that comparison. I like the Joe Burrow comparison. Guys that can do it all, throw the ball, win from inside the pocket, go through their progressions, throw with timing, touch, and accuracy, and use their legs when they need to be a threat on the field. I'm loving that, and I definitely think CJ could end up being that for us.
All right, last call of the night.
Yes, I'm just calling about quarterback situation. If we do not get CJ Stroud or Bryce Young, I just feel like we're just going back to a normal mediocrity that we're used to for the past. Hell, I don't know, since Cam Newton and Luke Fitterer. I'm ready for some change. I'm ready for a change. I'm ready to be a top-tier team like the Chiefs and the Bills and the Bengals. I feel like Anthony Richardson will just be another Sam Darnold. Love the show. Keep pounding. Go Panthers.
All right, thanks so much for the call.
Thank you.
I've told you guys this time and time again on the show. It's I want to be in a land with a quarterback than a land without a quarterback. That's the kingdom I want to live in. And while Cam created so much, people are even still talking about him today. Is that what Cam gave us for between 2011 and 2017 was living in the land of a quarterback, and it was a good feeling. It was a good feeling. Didn't do everything perfect, but you know what is you can focus. I tell you this, is too many people focus on the flaws and they forget what they do for your team, and he did a lot, and it was like now we get another chance, hopefully, to build around somebody. Thanks for the calls tonight, man. They were fantastic. I think tonight was arguably one of the best nights in C3 history for calls. Loved it. Let's finish out the show with the two last segments. We're not going to touch on all the news. We'll fly through it. It's been a power pack show. Somebody's got a lot of noise going on. We got to do the NFL news and the ice up picks still to go. Let's start with this because
hang on. Just to make sure that it's so official.
One of the last bits of the show we do is we look around the NFL, just talk about some of the news and how it maybe relates to the Panthers or just in general. The Carolina Panthers went out in the free agency and got Hayden Hurst. There have been two, and we'll kind of just do these two together. Let's do Mike Gesicki signed with the New England Patriots. I have not seen the deal that he worked out, but also Dalton Schultz. Some people are saying kind of left a lot of money on the table, that he overvalued himself, and now he's going to a 1-year deal with the Texans, right? So tough place. Maybe good for a tight end, though, with a rookie quarterback as a security blanket. Mike Gesicki, and we haven't, the tight ends went slow in this news. Hayden Hurst, people had him ranked as their third tight end free agent option, and he's like the one that went off the board first. I also saw O.J. Howard is signing with the Las Vegas Raiders. Y'all guys any thoughts on Dalton Schultz or Gesicki,
Yes.
their fits? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, overall, the markets for most everything outside of a quarterback has been, outside of the superstars, have been mediocre at best. And there's a lot of logic to it. You're seeing a lot of 2-year deals, 1-year deals, 3-year deals. And when you start to hear people explain why that is, it starts to really make sense. There's no reason for these guys to sign a crazy long deal, because with YouTube taking over Sunday Ticket, with them doing as much as they're doing from a content perspective with all these different networks and whatnot, the NFL is about to have a massive amount of money come their way. Massive. And when the NFL has a massive amount of money come their way, what goes up a massive amount? The cap space. So these guys are just playing the long game. They're saying, why get into a 4 or 5 year contract when there's going to be a major change in the landscape when it comes to the actual cap space. That's why you're seeing the market for these guys being maybe a little bit less valuable, because these guys are willing to take a smaller, short-term contract in order to be able to renegotiate in 2 years when that cap situation is a lot more favorable to the players.
Yeah, it's hard to believe though that Dalton Schultz was going to be the top tight end prospect, free agent gem for that long though. That's the thing, is that I do agree with you, is that you do bet on those multiple contracts. Multiple contracts is the way you make money in the NFL.
Right.
It's how do you get 2 long-term deals and then get a couple of short-term deals after in the back end of your career. So interesting to follow those guys, as well as, did you guys see? I didn't even see this today. Like, I haven't heard anything about it. I'm surprised. Ezekiel Elliott released?
Yeah, being released. Yep.
Yeah. There's your power back, guys.
Yeah, he just hasn't been producing the last few years, to be honest with you. He's gone down
terrible.
He kind of has, man. Every year he's been in the league, he's gone down. I think last year he averaged like 2.9 yards per carry.
Dude, I can run faster than Ezekiel Elliott. Okay,
he's going down every year.
That's just the truth. No lies were told. I can run faster than Ezekiel Elliott. That dude, he's hitting the hole at -1 miles an hour. So yeah, sorry, miss me with that, man.
Donta Hightower announces retirement, and I saw somebody put up something I thought it was just neat, is like, this was a pretty good linebacker class, drafted in 2012, 3-time Super Bowl champion Hightower, as well as Luke Kuechly was in that mix, and there was 2 other names that were pretty good on that list. So, did any? Oh, well, never mind. I'm not even going to talk about that. Lamar Jackson. This is it's just more weirdness now at this story. I saw one guy, the guy that used to be, he's been on this show. What is his name? He's really good. He used to be with the Houston Chronicle. I think he retired, but he just does like what Scott Fowler basically does. And he said that a non-licensed NFLPA agent has reached out to teams. So now he has a non-agent, or does he mean his mom?
He might have that guy. It might be his mom, but that guy that negotiated Laramie Tunsil's contract, and who negotiated, not negotiated, but helped these non-agent represented players to help them negotiate their contract. Yeah. His name is something Omni. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, Omni something like, yeah.
Okay.
It's an awesome name though.
And we mentioned Baker Mayfield is how about this? Are you clearly we're rooting against Baker to have success with the Bucs because it's a divisional. Do you dislike Baker after his time in Carolina? I'm kind of like, I don't have an opinion, it's like I actually like him, probably not more from being a player standpoint, but I feel like he's I don't know. You guys, Baker Mayfield, at least we get to play him twice a year for a little while.
Right.
So
I'm definitely not afraid of Baker Mayfield. I mean, why would you be? I don't know. I'm just how could you see what Baker Mayfield has done thus far and be like, oh, better watch out for Baker, what he might do?
Yeah, no, I don't feel that way. I just don't know if I dislike him as a person. There's certain people I don't like. And I don't know why I do this, but we all picked favorites. And I just don't think he's a favorite or somebody I don't like either. It's like a non-story to me. That's the news, guys, on what's been a great show. We still got one segment to go. The longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast, the Ice Up segment, coming up right here. Don't forget to subscribe. Check us out on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you don't subscribe, well, call in at 252-228-5098. Of course, you're going to subscribe. You're going to be a C3 super fan because you don't want to be one of those people that gets iced up. Cody, let's get into these Ice Up picks.
Oh, snap.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
It's our time to ice up someone. That means we tell someone in the world or met multiple people in the world to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. It's our homage to Steve Smith. And if anybody wants to tell someone to tough it up, to get it together, Steve Smith knew how to do it. Has anybody got a ice up pick that they are just yearning to share?
Oh yeah, I can go first. I didn't have a great one last week, but I do believe I've come better prepared this time. Listen, we've got a lot of Christian people, a lot of good God-fearing people who watch the C3 Panthers podcast, and that's great. But if ever you find yourself getting baptized in a lake, make sure that you know what's in that lake, and make sure you trust the pastor who's baptizing you at the service.
I'm gonna like this one. I think.
Wait till the end, dude. Listen out.
That's a dead body coming. Is that guy fishing?
He dropped his ass so damn fast.
Was it a bass or an alligator?
No, he said, "Mama, there's an alligator in there. Watch." He dropped, Pastor said, "It's in the Lord's hands now, y'all. I am getting my holy ass the fuck up out of here, bro." Listen, make sure you have a pastor that isn't going to abandon you after you just gave your life to the Lord to be the dinner of an alligator, y'all. That's not real pastor love. Ice up to that, man. Oh, you hate to see it, man. You hate to see it. Hate to see it.
All right, ice up. That's a great one, Cody. You came back strong. I told you that's like one of my favorites. All right, I'll get in there. Tonight is I got two. We're gonna when I show you this video, it's gonna look long. We're not gonna watch the whole video, but I really just am. God, I mean, I know people love TikTok. I know they love all the shorts, and I'm begging you to watch my internet content. But the food ones sometimes, like of these people making this stupid ass food half the time, right? This one drove me. This one made me nuts today. So I might. What the hell are you doing, right?
A little bit.
So she grinds all this up. Wow. You're like, okay, well, what are you gonna do? And somebody put this. There's always a guy in the background having to go, oh wow, like look at that. Listen.
It looks like that.
Wow, look at that. Ground up.
Oh wow, look at that. Wow. Now look at what. All right, this is where it gets the ice up.
Hold on. We're making fresh pasta out of pasta. We're gonna take an egg.
Fresh it's not fresh pasta, number one. You use dry pasta to remake. Now look at this at the end. Hold on. Look at this mess.
What?
Oh, come on. Oh, please don't freeze up on me now.
The funniest thing about this is what she did with that dried pasta. She could have just done with flour and made fresh pasta.
Right. That's the whole point. God, come on, please work. Please.
You might have to refresh it.
Okay, I've got to refresh because you got to see what the end product is. And then watching her eat it or take a bite. Oh, come on back. Where'd you
That's
go?
the only reason I watched this is to watch her eat that.
Yeah, here comes. Let's see. Hopefully. Okay. Here it goes. All right. We got what? Hold on. I got it. All right. So here we go. So she makes this dough.
Okay, now I have my boiled water.
That's what she calls it.
In there, we're gonna gently place our pasta noodles right into our boiled water, just like that.
Wow.
Roll them in there.
Wow.
It's fresh pasta.
Look, she calls it fettuccine.
Let's make the sauce. So while our pasta is cooking, I'm just going to put
you're just going to put Newman's own. All right, but look at this.
Exactly like fresh pasta.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let's see her face.
All right, let's give it a taste. Perfect consistency.
Shut up.
I love how I'm cut away from her being able to actually make a genuine reaction before she can actually make it. Oh, God.
Is this recipe
said it's delicious before it like even touched her tongue?
Dude, this recipe is straight out the white trash cookbook, okay? These are people just trying to make shit up to be innovative on TikTok, bro. Come on.
Y'all want to know how to really do it? Let's talk about how to make some ramen noodles.
Right.
I mean,
this is why I tell my kids not to listen to everything on TikTok. Seriously.
And we'll probably get pulled for playing that.
Really? It's 27 seconds.
It's
if it's over 15.
Okay. Well, this lady here, we won't play it, but she says something to the here. Let me just put the tweet up because they actually show the words that she says, and I don't know who that lady is. Is that judge lady?
Janine Pirro or something?
I don't know if it is, but it says she went on this show, The Five, and she said some of the smartest people I know didn't graduate from high school and are making millions and billions. And then the guy beside her goes, billions? She goes, yeah. And he goes, who? She goes, I'll tell you later. Stupid ass. Like, what? I mean, yeah, okay, whatever. Quit high school. I'll tell you later how to do it. Those are my ice up picks tonight.
CK, you want to go? You want me to go?
No, you go ahead. I'm ready to get out of here.
Okay, mine's really quick. It's just a kind of a funny video, and it's just if you're gonna especially go on a bike ride, just be sure you have a plan for what's going on. I love Ring doorbells. This reason, video cameras. So watch this dude. Oh, he's on a scooter. He's on a scooter. I'm sorry. Have a plan. Like at no point in time did he look like he was going to stop.
Can you play that one more time and put it on full screen? Put it on full screen. Bang, dude. Dude, that's a bad feeling right there, man.
Yeah.
Oh, and you don't even know that you're on camera too. You have to find out later that your worst moment got
on
filmed.
YouTube.
That's what happened to Drew Bledsoe back in the day.
Yeah, right. Oh, dude, that's hilarious.
Ice up. All right, CK, you don't have one?
No, let's get out of here.
Okay, that's the C3 Panthers podcast brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. We're the people's voice. That's right. It's the People's Voice podcast where, look, we're not football experts, but we are expert football fans, and we got a great community. We thank you for being a part of it. We got the Friday free-for-all coming up next, right, Cody Lack?
Absolutely. Every Friday at 7 p.m., it's your opportunity to be a part of the show that is literally for Panther fans, by Panther fans. The C3 Friday free-for-all every Friday at 7 p.m., you can join the show via StreamYard, just like we're doing now, and talk and have a great time and conversate about the Carolina Panthers, man. There's so much to talk about right now, so much to discuss. Dude, it makes for great conversations. And yeah, man, also follow me on Twitter at Cody Lack, CODYLAC. Your boy passed 2,000 followers today on Twitter.
Congratulations.
So, yeah, man, we're moving up in the world. So right now I'm at 2,032. So that's cool.
We got 150 subscribers on the YouTube in the last 2.5 weeks, which has been fantastic. CK, how can they get after you?
You can get me at Twitter as well at CodeDizzleAllen. I'm not as spicy with my takes as Cody is, but I usually try to provide some insight as to, some logic and whatnot with regard to what I see going on out there. But you obviously follow us along here. And I know we said we won't do the Friday free for all, or won't do anything until the Friday free for all. But there are some pro days coming up tomorrow and the next day, so might not be a bad idea to come and at least discuss what we saw at some point during this
might
week.
Be right,
so,
yeah. I'll have some time too. My wife's going to be out of town.
Is there a big one tomorrow? It's not one of
CJ Stroud.
Stroud's tomorrow.
That's what I heard.
Well, look, Greg, Geeks Chasing Squirrels podcast. Tell them how they can get. Actually, just want to say this is I finally watched Black Adam. I thought it was fantastic.
You know what? I thought it was fantastic the first time I watched it too. Then I rewatched it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was great. I thought it was great.
It was that I rewatched it and I was like, this wasn't as good as
I thought it got
Very
a lot of
surface.
shade from people, but
It's very surface. It's not really a deep, which again, it is what it is. It was a good blockbuster movie to watch in a movie theater.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. I thought some of the secondary characters were compelling and entertaining. Yeah,
I mean, it had its good points for sure.
I like too a hero that wasn't just always like. I mean, it wasn't just like, hey, good guy. I thought it showed some different things to it. I liked it. All right, but I'm not one of those Marvel experts, and I know that's not Marvel. That's DC. I'm pretty sure. Shazam that. How can they Shazam your podcast?
Yeah, man. Check us out on YouTube at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We go live. It's based off this show. It's just about pop culture, comics, movies, books, novels, audiobooks, all that good stuff, television shows. I mean, we do it. We were talking about Mando. Well, excuse me, we're talking about Last of Us, but Last of Us just ended. Mandalorian, Picard, Bad Batch, all that good stuff. We usually have guest and creators come on a few times a month, but it's a good time. So come check us out. Check me out at the Bat 852 to find out more information.
We're 3.5 hours into this podcast. Cody Lack, take us out of here. It's the longest running Panthers podcast, literally.
C3 Nation. Until next time, you already know what to do. Keep pounding.